What about the raps?
Is the Bible even true?
What about the Holy Ghost?
What happened to the Israelites?
What about the raps?
Is the Bible even true?
To the law and to the testimony.
What happened to the Israelites?
Speak not in accordance with this word, it is because there is no light in it. For the law says to the testimony.
What happened to the Israelites?
All the prophets have spoken. Ought not Mashiach to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures things concerning himself.
All the peoples of the earth are going to know that you're called by me, and they're going to be afraid of you. If we kept his commandment, what the brother named Jewish fool wouldn't have happened. You see how God just put nail on his neck? The cat wasn't even scared to nail on this man's neck, and Jewish fool is a royal man.
Time to open up the pages, take another look. And just give me book. It's time to open up the pages, take another look. And just give me book. It's time to open up the pages, take another look. And just give me book. It's time to open up the pages, take another look. And just give me book. It's time to open up the pages, take another look. And just give me book.
Shalom, 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 Mashapat. I pray that we can be heard. This is your brother in arms, Abaya of the Torah Group, coming to you live on this pagan, Wednesday night? Pagan Wednesday night with another Just Give Me Book TV. We took some time off to get some rest and take care of some other things, but we're back live. We're going to be going into a topic tonight. If you're connected to us via Facebook, you've seen the topic. Tonight's topic is ho ho ho's for Jesus. Ho ho ho's for Jesus, the idolatry of Christmas. And I really don't know how this is going to go. The Most High will be done. Me and my wife, we talk about this all the time. This season that they're in, this Christmas season that they're in, is never an easy topic. And no matter how you intro or no matter how you answer their questions about why you don't participate, it's never an easy conversation, especially with your close loved ones, mom, dad, brother, or sister. But our goal, our mission tonight is not to offend anyone. Our mission, our goal tonight is to share some information that's going to save people's souls. And, you know, being a workman, being a preacher, pastor, whatever title you want to give yourself out there, it's all fun when the camera and glitz and everything, you're getting accolades and people donating to your GoFundMe page and your Cash Apps. It's all just beautiful when people are loving you. But when you have to do the real work and get dirty, this is the part of the work no one wants to do. No one wants to stand their family in the face or stand Satan in the face and tell them that they're offending the Most High. They are offending the Messiah. But this is part of our work. It's not all fun and games. This is not all smiles and come here, let me hug you. This is a love mission, but this is true love that hurts. True love hurts, family, whether it's coming from a parent or it's coming from a mate. True love hurts one way or the other. So tonight we're going to go into the celebration of Christmas And this is our plea. This is our plea to all Christians, Jews and Gentiles from all walks of life. No matter what your understanding is, no matter what you've been told, we pray to the Most High, prick your spirit just to consider the information, do the research, and at the end of the presentation, ask yourself, is this celebration, is this Christmas holiday, I use the term loosely, is this Christmas holiday really something pleasing to the Son of the Most High? And is it pleasing to his Father? So with that, I want to introduce my brother in arms, my dearly beloved Ak here. I let him introduce himself.
It's your brother Shamaria. Y'all already know. And like he said, we just want to bring out some information to friends, family, loved ones, Jew, Gentile, etc., about the origins of where these things come from. Because sometimes it is in ignorance that we do things, but sometimes people will know the truth and still choose to act because they think they can gloss over the origins and establish something new. So we'll see that, as he's bringing out the information.
All praises. Gina is in the buyout with us. She's getting things ready for Shabbat. Gina, did you have anything you wanted to say to the family, to the people? Your thoughts or your opinions about what's going on this pagan season?
Shalom, everyone. Please just take a moment to listen, to research, to read, to discover something that you may have been doing for traditional reasons, and just take the time to explore why. That's all I got.
All praises. Hallelujah. So we got a lot of information to go over, so I want to get right into it. But first, I want those of you who've been with the Most High for a few years now, and you've been, trying to reach out to loved ones and family and friends, and you just get the same, either they ignore you or they come up with all kind of excuses. I want to offer for our Kathabri, and I want to go to the book or the letter of Yachanan. And can you take us to Yachanan chapter 6? And we're going to just read verse 44. Yachanan is also John in the English. So we're going to read John chapter 6, verse 44.
John chapter 6, verse 44. No man can come to me except the Father which have sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day.
Can you continue 45 out?
It is written in the prophets, and they shall be taught of God or the Most High. Every man, therefore, that have heard and have learned of the Father cometh unto me.
This is Messiah, our King, talking, and he's telling us, no man can come unto him, the Messiah, unless the Father draws that person. So those of you who this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th season of trying to reach your family and friends, give yourself a round of applause, give yourself a pat on the back, but also you can relax and breathe because you did your job. It's not your job to browbeat and just turn over their tables at their house. You shared the truth of what you've learned. You used the word to teach them that these times are evil. So your family and friends who are not receiving this word, the Father hasn't drawn them. So that should make you feel extra special that someone took the time to show you, and you had the heart to listen. And not only the heart to listen, you had the spirit of our Berean ancestors to go and search the matter out. And that was the Father drawing you to his Son. And John 6 and 45, reason why I had Ak read John 6 and 45, again, this is the King talking. And John 6 and 45, Messiah says, it is written in the prophets. We can't skip over any of these little words anymore. Messiah says is written in the prophets. Messiah is telling us in a roundabout way, indirectly, we should be living our lives according to the prophets. And I'm just going to let the Rawat move. If you can't find your customs and your traditions in the prophets, where are you getting your customs and traditions from? So the Messiah himself says, it is written in the prophets. Then he says, those who have learned, those who have studied and learned of my Father will show me to them. So if you haven't humbled yourself to come to the Father, you ain't going to get the Son. But for those of you who've been on the front line, you relax. Let that guilt just subside. We don't have the power within us to make someone see this. But you should feel extra special if you do see that Christmas is pagan. You should feel extra special because the Father has loved on you more than he loved on your family. That's just the facts of the case. That's book. That's book. This is not our intellect. This is not our efforts at all. The Father saw your heart and he started removing scales from your eyes to see the trappings of Christmas. So we're going to transition into tonight's presentation. But y'all know us at the Torah Group. If you've been watching some of our videos, we don't put on no errors. We don't put on no, we don't, my dad used to say back in the day, we don't perpetrate a fraud. We're real people. We're real people with real feelings and real past lives. I tell you, me and my wife talk about it all the time. We're so indoctrinated, even though me and her have been out of Christmas now for about, I think 5 years, maybe 6 years. We haven't celebrated it. We grew up with it as children. So yes, the songs come on and you got to force yourself not to sing. When you're in the stores, you got to force your, I'm just going to be honest with you. My favorite Christmas movie is, you too young.
Die Hard.
Not Die Hard.
Christmas Story.
Yeah, you're a shoot child, kid. You're a shoot child. I still love that movie, and I was going to try to catch some of it this year, but I didn't. But that's us being real. It's no sense of putting, we're so holy now, and we're so Israel that we can't concede that it is. They make it a fun time of the year. The songs come on. My favorite song, I have two favorite songs. I had to force myself not to sing, and that's Merry Christmas by the Temptations, and then
Boys the Men do one.
I think Boys the Men had one, and then I think Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway had a Christmas song, I believe. And so we're real people. So to our family and friends who are inside Christianity, some of you don't even go to church and you're all up in Christmas. But we're not trying to act like we're better than you. We understand, yes, the lights are pretty, and especially when you have a white Christmas. We're not naive to what's going on in the world. They make it a beautiful time of the year. But the problem is they are not in line with your Father. They are not in line with the Messiah, the Lion of Judah. Because what's one of the most famous songs they sing right now?
Mariah Carey.
Joy to the world.
Oh yeah.
You're singing Joy to the World. The Lord or the King has come. But then when we read the words of the King says, think not that I come to bring peace on earth. I come not to bring peace, but a sword. So this is what we're trying to get our family and friends to see. Everything you're doing that's near and dear to you, it's the total opposite of the Son of the Most High. And because we're natural people in these natural states, I want to come to your front door. I want to come to right where you're at. And I want you to consider these questions because they tell you, I know it's pagan, but the kids like it. The kids have a good time. So when you should be a teacher, you have need to be taught. Apostle Paul was talking about you, pastors. Apostle Paul was talking about you. So since these grown behind adults are going to put it on the children. I want to ask you this, because I grew up poor, and I remember when I started making what I thought was good money. It felt good to go to the mall and be able to get my children all the stuff that I couldn't get, because it got so where we wouldn't even ask for nothing for Christmas because we knew we wasn't getting it. We still got stuff on layaway at James Way from 1986. So this generation, we start making good money and we want to make up for everything our parents couldn't give to us, and it feels good. And now you're teaching your children a tradition that's totally against their father and their king, the Messiah. So since the Christians are going to say, we know it's pagan, we know it's not in the Bible, we know it's not about a tree, but it's about family, it's about the children. Would you let your children play with knives? Would you let your children play with dirty needles? Would you let your children play with a loaded gun? If you're sane or half sane, the answer to all three of those questions is no. No, you wouldn't let them play with dangerous things. Well, this pagan tradition that we got from Babylon is the most dangerous object you can let your children or grandchildren play with. And with that, we're going to go into the presentation. Let me do the screen share. Those online, let us know if the sound goes out. We on this technology and we don't want anyone to miss anything. So just send us a text or some kind of message if anything goes haywire so we can pause.
David, who says, we have friends who do not celebrate Christmas because they say December 25th is really a pagan.
Bring it right back.
David, who says, we have friends who do not celebrate Christmas because they say December 25th is really a pagan holiday. While I agree that Jesus may not have been born on December 25th, he certainly was born as described in the Bible. How do I respond to them?
Well, in a sense, tell them they're right. You see, the winter solstice a couple of days later was the shortest day of the year, and the pagans had something called Saturnalia. And it was a time of lawlessness because all the laws were suspended. And people, a bunch of singers actually wandered the streets naked singing. And then they had orgies, sexual orgies. It was a mass thing. Well, when the Catholic Church came along in Italy, the Romans and others didn't want to give up their holidays. So they said, okay, we'll Christianize it. And so they said, okay, we'll say the birth of Jesus was the 25th of December. And then there was a monk who began to add it up. You see, if you read in Luke, it says there's a census taken when Quirinius was governor and so forth and so on. And they could take those leaders and figure the exact time dating from the foundation of Rome. And that's when the dates were established. And so they get pretty close to the date. But to say it's the 25th, shepherds were out abiding in the field. It gets a little cold at night. I mean, were they out there in the middle of winter? You know, I don't know. I've been out there on the shepherd's field on Christmas Eve. It's very nice. But it's cold. And nevertheless, I mean, what was going on? So all this business about mistletoe, pagan. Christmas trees, pagan. Giving out gifts, pagan. Every bit of it is pagan. Every single bit of it is pagan. We've Christianized it all. And so that's good. And so we have time, we celebrate for Jesus. Everybody gets all misty-eyed. But the truth is, they're all pagan. But the birth of Jesus.
But the intent of the heart is what it's about.
Exactly. So we have Christianized all these things. We give gifts in the name of Jesus. We celebrate his birthday. And it's a nice thing. And so
So family, I pray that y'all can hear that, heard that this is one of the most famous TV evangelists in the world, Pat Robertson. And what did he say?
He said that Christmas is pagan, but it's okay because we turned it into a good thing.
He said the tree is pagan,
the mistletoe is pagan,
the gifts is pagan,
the giving gifts is pagan,
but
now we give gifts in the name of Jesus.
What did Isaiah say about calling good evil and evil good?
Woe to those.
Woe. For those of you just coming in and you don't understand what pagan, because I was shocked one year, a lady at work, she asked me what, and, I told her, she wasn't a Hebrew, but I told her. She said, what you doing? What you getting your wife for Christmas or something? She said, I said, I'm not getting my wife nothing because we're not pagans. And she says, what's a pagan? And I looked at her like she was being smart. But there's some people who don't understand what the word pagan means. Can you tell them what pagan means in your breakdown?
In general terms, I mean, a pagan would be someone who worships pretty much idol worship, false gods, things outside of the scriptures, anything outside of the Hebrew custom pretty much would be, from my understanding of pagan.
I would have to agree with you. Family and friends, those who may hear this at a later date, if you're not used to reading scriptures, pagan is anything not found in the scriptures. Pagan is anything not ordained by the Most High of heaven and not practiced by his Son. So if you're following something that the Most High didn't ordain and the Messiah himself didn't practice, chances are you're following a pagan custom. And here's one of the most popular, famous, and wealthiest TV evangelists, Pat Robertson, telling you, we know it's pagan, but it's the heart that matters. Book, chapter, and verse. What book, chapter, and verse says you can do pagan things as long as your heart's in the right place? The Father says, woe to those who call bitter sweet and sweet bitter. And in the Hebrew family, woe is not even a word. Woe is like a sound. Woe is so terrible. It's like, whoa, you don't know what the Most High is going to do to you. So these people know they're going against the Most High, but they're telling the Most High, I know I'm disobeying you, but my heart is right. I'm doing it for you, even though I'm doing something that the pagans gave us. I'm doing this for you. You are being a hoe for Jesus. How would you like if your wife came home, for you married fellas, and yes, I'm sleeping with Bob at the job, but I'm sleeping with Bob because I love you. I'm doing, because you always tired and you got all these projects you want to do and you want to make money, and I'm proud of you, so I'm going to sleep with Bob at the job because I love you. That's what they're telling us, family. We know it's pagan, but our heart's in the right place. Let's continue on.
Folks out here who think that Christmas is the original holiday at this time of year, and we kind of gently, I know Frank and I kind of gently nudge our Christian friends and say, just remember, you got all this stuff from us because we started this. So there are a lot of our traditions are incorporated. This is a very pagan holiday because it is. Also, the Christmas tree. Our Christmas tree, or our Yule tree as we refer to it, is a very pagan holiday, and what you're doing is bringing in the greenery into your house so that you're bringing in life and vitality and all that the evergreens represent.
Well, growing up, I grew up with my parents who are not pagan, but we did the whole Christmas tree, so it kind of flowed very nicely into.
So here you got witches telling you to your face that everything you're doing is pagan. And they were being very clean and very polite about the Christmas tree. And Yule, The real name of that Yule log is a Druid god, or he's a Gothic god. His name is Yule. And that Yule log, which they said is the tree, that's a representative of a male organ, because an evergreen tree always does what? Stays what?
Upright.
Always stays up. The evergreen tree is always up. It never goes flaccid. It never dies in the winter like the other trees. So everything you're doing when you partake in Christmas is part of pagan sexual cult rituals. This whole thing is a sexual ritual to different pagan entities throughout the world. Babylon may call it by this name, Persia may call it by this name, and then when you get in Europe, they may have different names. Mithra is all to pagan deities, and it's different pagan sexual cultic practice. Let's go to the next one.
"90% of Americans celebrate Christmas in one way or another, according to the Pew Research Center. The holiday began in the 4th century when church officials chose to honor the birth of Jesus. But several customs we've come to associate with modern-day Christmas actually evolved from ancient pagan traditions celebrating the winter solstice. Historian Kenneth C. Davis is the best-selling author of the Don't Know Much About series, which we love. Welcome back to the table. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
So this is something I've always been fascinated by, because the Bible never talks about the date of Christ's birth, yet we celebrate December 25th. Why?
Well, primarily because in ancient Rome, there was a feast called Saturnalia that celebrated the solstice. What is the solstice? It's the day that the sun starts coming back. The days start getting longer. And most of the traditions that we have that relate to Christmas relate to the solstice, which was celebrated in ancient Rome on December 25th. So when Christianity became the official religion, in a sense, in Rome, they were able to fix this date, which some scholars say may be earlier than that. There's a little discrepancy about it, but there's no question that the fact that it was celebrated in Rome as an important day with gift-giving, candle lighting, and singing and decorating houses really cemented Christmas as December 25th.
You always say you don't know much according to your books, but do you know why we have a Christmas tree as opposed to a bunch of hydrangeas, which I think are really pretty?
This is another
puffy and pretty.
This is another.
How about that, Ken?
This is another pagan tradition. So Christmas is really about bringing out your inner pagan. The Christmas tree really comes to.
Who knew we had an inner pagan?
Yeah. Which of the wise men said that? I can't remember.
Well, it's like Halloween and a lot of other things we do. These all predate Christianity. But in the Norse world, Germany, the Scandinavian countries, where winter was really serious and the solstice was really an important idea, they celebrated the return of life by celebrating an evergreen tree. When Christianity came in, they started to use the evergreen tree, the pagan symbol, as a symbol of the tree of paradise. And they started to hang an apple on it. So little red balls on green trees.
Oh, that's the ornaments.
Picture here.
That's where the idea for ornaments
So
came
all of these things really celebrate the idea that light and life are coming back into the world, which is essentially what Christmas means to Christians across the world.
Right, and mistletoe?
Mistletoe, we can thank the Druids for that. The Druids believed that mistletoe was an all-powerful healing item. It hung from the sacred oak. In fact, if you met somebody in the forest, you gave them the sign of peace under the mistletoe. So people started to hang mistletoe above their doorways as a symbol of peace. This was such a powerful symbol of paganism that English churches actually banned the use of it. And in fact, the real war on Christmas in America begins with the Puritans in around 1659. They knew all of these things, the date, the traditions were pagan ideas. The Puritans banned Christmas for about 20 years in America before the celebration became just too popular.
You'll be glad to know all of your answers today were correct. You know a lot. You know a lot, Kenneth C. Davis. It's
Our fact checker over here.
Yes. Merry Christmas to you, Kenneth Davis.
And this does not take away, we're not the Grinch spoiling it here. It still has all the meaning that it has, but we can celebrate it. and understand where these things come from.
Good day to you with your favorite grandchildren. I look forward to that one day.
They're telling you, family, you can research this on your dumb phone. All of us are walking around with $1,500, $2,000 computers in our pockets. This is not heavy research, and they make light of it. Oh, who knew we had an inner pagan? Well, we're not being the Grinch. We can understand where it comes from and still do it. Not if you want to serve the God, the Elohim of heaven. Not if you want to be greeted, well done, thy good and faithful servant, by the line of Judah. Show me book, chapter, and verse where once someone tells you it's pagan, that you can do it anyway. So if you truly fear the Most High, if you truly want to live for Christ, that's what it comes down to. You got to make big boy decisions, big girl decisions. You can no longer in this hour worrying about offending mom, offending big mama. Can't y'all just come over for a little bit? Can I see the baby for a little bit? What if the Messiah comes for that little bit that you're there? You have to make a decision to save your own soul. This is where we're at. It's no time to make light of this. You're offending the God of heaven. You're offending the only begotten Son, and you want to laugh about it? There's no laughing matter. Your soul is on the line. So you think you're bringing a smile to your child face, to your grandchild face. What you're doing, you're throwing your child or your grandchild into the fire. You're serving your children to Baal. The same things our forefathers did. Plan the whore. You're playing the whore for Babylon. And you're still doing it to this day. You had something you want to bring out?
Just a little bit, not a whole lot, but he mentioned the fact that the celebrations of Christmas and Halloween, etc., it predates Christianity.
What?
That's what he said. So if it predates Christianity, which we'll bring out, in a few minutes, but if it predates Christianity, then where did it come from?
How can it be for Jesus?
And how can it be for Jesus or anything to do with what's going on in the Bible if it predates Christianity? Then he mentioned that in 1659, it was banned in America.
You would get a fine. You would get a fine. Like when you get double park in the city or your meter expires, you would get a fine if they catch you celebrating Christmas. How can these Puritans who are non-Israelites, how can they understand that it's evil? But the natural born seed of Abraham, you got college degrees, you got doctorate of divinity, and you can't understand that it's pagan. But you're going to stand in your church on this Saturday and telling your whole congregation, we know it ain't about no tree, but. Your whole congregation is on the way to hell, but. Anybody inside the virtual class has anything they want to add? Anybody inside the virtual room want to add to the conversation?
If I can just from a perspective of what Shamaria just said, the fact that it predates the religion, because you always say all you got to do is just ask questions. And I actually was reading this to a complete stranger today, and I'm not going to go too deep. I'm pretty sure y'all going to bring it out. But I asked them which book comes first in the Bible, the book of Jeremiah or the book of Matthew. And they said the book of Jeremiah because they actually read the Bible. I said, okay. So we read chapter 10, Jeremiah chapter 10, verses 1 through 5. And I said, what tradition does this sound like? They said Christmas. I said, okay, but Christ wasn't born yet because you just told me it came before Matthew. So where did this tradition come from? So that's exactly what Shamaria was talking about. But like I said, I'm pretty sure y'all gonna bring it out. I just wanted to do that quick testimony real quick.
We're gonna bring it out. Anybody else got anything else? All right, let's move on to the next clip.
73 degrees.
Fair use.
Angel, a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
And that's what Christmas is all about.
You hear that, boy? That's what Christmas is all about.
Actually, Granddad, Christmas is a pagan holiday. And Jesus probably hates you for celebrating it.
There ain't gonna be no Scrooges in this house, boy.
Look, Granddad, it's clear from the scripture that Jesus was not born in winter. The shepherds who saw the angels announcing his birth would not have been out in their fields in December. The Palestinian winters are too cold, if you believe in that sort of thing. The truth is, Christmas evolved from the Roman holiday Saturnalia, a winter festival where men gave gifts to each other. They also would get drunk, have sex with each other, and beat their wives. People would act so crazy on Christmas, the holiday was outlawed by the Protestant Church until the 1800s. As a matter of fact, the United States Congress...
That's what they said. We talked about.
Granddad? Granddad!
I'm sorry, boy. What was that?
I just explained the entire history of Christmas.
The truth always hurts. That's what we got going on, family. Your family and friends don't want to hear it, but they got all these what would Jesus do bumper stickers. I love Jesus. They got more crosses around their necks than the Pope. And you got research after research that nothing about this season is holy. Well, let me take that back, because once you learn what holy means, this time of the year is holy to the pagan deities. It's not holy to the King of Heaven or his son. So yes, holy means set apart. So yes, this is a set apart time for Baal. This is a set apart time for Mithras. This is a set apart time for all the pagan deities, but it's not set apart for the Messiah, the one who broke his body for you. He wants nothing to do with this celebration. So we all are guilty of it, but we're trying to love you back to the Father and let you know, whether through ignorance or through disobedience, being a stiff neck, you are playing the harlot. So we want to wish you a Merry Christmas, you big whore. And we got to bring it to your door because we don't have any time for these pleasantries. Well, I understand. No. The Messiah is on his way, and he's going to kill you if you're practicing idolatry. We have no time for all these fancy words and try to rope you in with smiles and hugs. What you're doing, if you have a tree in your home, if you're buying Christmas presents, you are on deck to be killed by the Messiah. Ho, ho, ho's for Jesus. This is the idolatry of Christmas. So the young man in the cartoon, he says something at the end trying to educate his grandfather. He says that it's too cold for shepherds to be in the fields with their flock in December. He says they wouldn't be out there. But if you believe in that type of thing. So this young boy was trying to tell his grandfather that you're believing in fables if you think in Palestine during the month of December, shepherds are in the field with their sheep or their cattle. You are believing in fairy tales. You're believing in fables. So I just want to show you, we got receipts to try to help our family and friends. Here's the climate. Here's the current climate of Jerusalem right now. This is a screenshot of the current week we're in right now. Today is what? Pagan Wednesday, the 22nd?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, over in Jerusalem, it was forecast for light rain. The high was only going to be 51 degrees, and that's during the day when the sun is up. Tonight, well, they're already in their late night right now. It's that they're 6 to 8 hours. I think they're 8 hours, 6 or 8 hours ahead of us. So tonight in Jerusalem, it's 43 degrees. 43 degrees. Family and friends, that's just what? 10 degrees above freezing?
Yeah, and then on the 25th, it's 36 degrees at night.
So on Christmas, the day you saying that our king was born, It's forecasted to be 36 degrees that night, just 3 degrees or 4 degrees above freezing. And you as a grown man, you as a grown woman with all kind of degrees, you'd have been to all kind of colleges, all kind of seminars, you really think in your mind that some shepherds were in the fields this time of the year, even in Palestine? We got receipts, family. Can we go to 2 Timothy 4:4 out? 2 Timothy 4:4. And actually, I started at, I think verse 3, it starts this sweet too. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3.
2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears.
This is what's going on. You got a supercomputer in your hand. You have a supercomputer on your hip. Most of you work with computers at your job. You can Google all this information and you can verify with your own 2 eyes that nothing about this season is holy to the God of heaven. But you're heaping to yourself teachers with itching ears. You don't want, it's like I shared that, I had to reshare that R. Kelly meme. You don't want to hear the truth. You want to act like you don't see none of the posts on your timeline that the Most High don't like this. You don't want to hear none of the posts that there's no way shepherds are in the field right now. But we got receipts trying to help you. We're trying to love our family and friends back to real salvation. Read on.
And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables.
Turned unto what?
Turned unto fables.
It don't, all of, you just heard some so-called educated people, Pastor Pat Robinson, those newscasters, they admit to you, yes, it's all pagan. It's all of Satan, but we can do it in good spirits. They just tell you they're believing in fables. And now you're bringing up, because I'm to the age now, we're having grandchildren. So now you got people my age spreading this to their grandchildren. Some people my age have great-grands. So you got your great-grands, 2 or 3 generations going to hell, believing in fables. We know it's pagan, but it's a good time of the year. I couldn't afford it when I was growing up, so I want to show my children a good time. Won't you buy them a house at 10 years old? Won't you do that if you want to do something for your children? Won't you give them a bank account and start stacking it so they can have something to start off with at 18? Won't you do that? Try something different. But you want to believe in fables. You want to believe in fables. Let's move on. So, like the clips brought out, they tell us that in 2 days, well, today's the 22nd, they tell us in 2 days that our Messiah was born, and he was born in a manger, and there was no room, so he had to be born in a manger where to keep the animals. And we just showed you the temperature for Jerusalem right now. Jerusalem is just a little bit above freezing, and you think a grown man is going to have his near-due wife, he's going to have his almost about to burst wife traveling in this weather? What kind of man in his right mind, even if it wasn't his baby? Joseph is a just man. If you believe in the text says Joseph was just. So the angel told him what was going on. So it may not have been his seed, but what just man in his right mind is going to have a young pregnant woman about to burst traveling in near freezing weather? Believing in fables, family. Believing in fables. Let's walk this down with some Berean notes. Can we go ahead and read that Luke 2:18? Let's read it.
Right here on the screen.
Come.
Luke 2, verse 18. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night.
So just like the story, there were shepherds Luke is recording during the birth of Messiah, there were shepherds in the field, and they were keeping their flock overnight. There were shepherds in the fields watching over their flock at night. Okay. First receipt. This is the Smith's Bible Dictionary, family. And this Smith's Bible Dictionary was composed by a so-called theologian. And I believe he published this back in 1860 something. So if you go around any so-called theologian, any of these dumb doctors, what you call them, dumb deacons, any of these DD or divinities, they know about Smith. They know about Smith because he's considered to be a theologian, and he composed this Bible dictionary. We're going to read just page 60 to 61 of Smith's Bible Dictionary. Can you see the paragraph that starts with rain?
Rain. The average rainfall at Jerusalem for the year is 56 inches. Very wet seasons, it has gone higher, around 85. So it's an average between 44 and 66. The average in London is only 25, in the Highlands of England 60, in New York 62, and the highest in the Lake Country 65. There is a wet and dry season. In the winter.
So the wet season is what?
The winter.
The winter is the wet season. Okay, read on.
The rains fall in two series of showers called the early and the latter rain, with occasional lighter showers between and many clear sunny days.
So during our winter season, we have two series of rain showers. And the Father told us this in the Tanakh. He says, if you obey my commandments, if you keep my covenants, I will give you the early rain and the latter rain. You won't have to be bringing in water hoses and all kind of irrigation to grow your crops if you obey my commandments. He's going to give you the early rain and the latter rain. This is during our winter season in Jerusalem, okay? Read on up.
The loss of rain is sure to affect the harvest, and a total want of rain would destroy all crops. From April to November, there is scarcely ever a cloud.
From April to November, there's hardly any rain clouds.
The dews are heavy, often like a small shower.
So the dew that the Most High, every morning when you get up and you see that dew on the grass, that's the Most High cleaning his earth for us, and that's the Most High watering our crops for us. That's how much he loves us. So he says in Jerusalem, even during the periods of no rain, the dew is heavy enough that when you get up, it looks like it's rained, because that's the Father taking care of his children, providing for them, watering their crops and cleaning the earth. This is in Jerusalem. This is how much the Father loves us. Read on.
Chilly nights succeeding hot days have always been a constant feature in the East. The different climate of Jericho has been often noticed. Josephus says, and it is true now, that linen clothing can be worn at Jerusalem when there is snow in the hills around Jerusalem.
So even when they can look up to the Mount Hermon, and they can see that the high mountains have snow caps, down in the valleys or down in the lower mountains, because not every mountain range have the same peaks. If you ever vacationed in the mountains, you know, as you're climbing up the mountains, you will get to a certain elevation, and there's stores, there's towns, there's hotels, and you can keep going up the mountain. That's how Jerusalem is. So as you're climbing Jerusalem, when you can see the highest mountains, you may see up in the high mountains, they got snow, but down in the lower mountains and down in the valley, we still can wear linen. That's how beautiful our climate is. Down in the lower peaks and down in the valleys, we still could be walking around with linen garments on, even though high up is snow on the earth. Read on.
The plains, right? The plains along the seashore are but little hotter than the hills. Baruch is much hotter year round than Jerusalem. In the desert are found the greatest extremes of heat and cold. In winter, the heat will be greater than our summer in the day, and the night colder than our average winter.
So Smith is comparing Jerusalem climate to where he's from. I'm not sure if he's referring to Rome or England, but he's saying the nights are colder than our average winter. So in Jerusalem gets colder than the European winter nights. That's what, wherever Smith is from, that's what he's saying here. The nights in Jerusalem are colder than where he's from. And family, quiet as it's kept. Where's Jerusalem? What continent is Jerusalem on?
Africa.
Africa. He's telling you the nights in Africa gets colder than the nights of where he lives, or where he's from. Read on.
The winds are very regular in their season and effects. West or southwest wind invariably brings rain in the winter. And that's according to Luke.
Luke chapter 12:54, the Messiah asks them, or the Messiah tells them, you guys can discern the weather by the way the wind blow in the west, but you can't understand what I'm telling you. So that's the reference there, Luke chapter 12:54. Now, I want you to pay attention to the right side of your screen. On the right side of your screen, family, I know it's faded. This is an old writing, but you can Google this off Google Books yourself, and you can download it and blow it up. This is a table of mean monthly temperature, rainfall, and products, etc. in Jerusalem. Can you see that first column saying months?
Yeah.
So what is the average temperature for January?
49 degrees, 49.4 degrees.
In February?
54.4.
In March?
55.5.
April?
0.7. April, 61.4.
May?
73.8.
And June?
75.2.
July?
79.1.
And August?
79.3.
You see, June through August are the hottest months because that's the height of our summer. Now let's start going to the other part of our year. August?
79.3.
I'm sorry, September.
77.
September, you see the temperature drops. If you're looking at the screen, the month of September in Jerusalem, you see the temperature starts to drop. It's 77 degrees. October?
74.2.
November?
63.8.
December's average temperature?
54.5.
December's average temperature in Jerusalem is 54.5 degrees. The next column, family, I know it's hard to read, but again, I'm not trying to indoctrinate. I'm not trying to lie to anyone. I don't have time for that. It says the rainfall in inches. Can you read the rainfall in inches for January?
13.
February?
16.
And March?
8.
April?
2.
May?
1.
June?
None.
July?
None.
August?
None.
September?
None.
October?
2 inches.
October, family, is starting to rain. It's getting 2 inches of rain in Jerusalem. November?
2.
December?
12.
December has what?
12 rainfall average inches.
December has an average of 12 inches of rain. And you think a man is going to be traveling with his 9-month pregnant wife in December, knowing that it's the most rainiest, Salakia, it's the second rainiest month of the year. It's only second to January. I'm sorry, it's the third most rainiest. December has 12, January has 13 inches, and February tops the list with 16 inches of rain. Family, we're almost at the end of December, and y'all see over here, even in America, it's been raining. It's been raining. Just the other day, we had to cancel a delivery to our house because our backyard holds water. So over in Jerusalem, December on an average has 12 inches of rain, and you think Messiah was outside this being born in a manger? People believe fables, family. believe in fables. So that was Smith's Bible Dictionary. There's no way our Messiah was born in the month of December. There's no way Joseph, knowing that this is the most wettest, coldest month, is going to have his wife 9 months pregnant, climbing up a mountain, having a baby, family. These are fables, fables. Let's get our next receipt. This is the Antiquity of the Jews, book number 3, chapter 10 by Josephus. Josephus is a Levite. If you Google Josephus, they have Renaissance him. They have Renaissance him. But Josephus cannot be a non-melanated person because he's from the same tribe as Uncle Masha or Moses, and y'all know the story of Moses. So Josephus is a Levite, and he can give you his posterity all the way back to Aaron. He records something about our feast days. Can you read that for us, Op?
Antiquities of the Jews, book 3, chapter 10. But on the 15th day of the same month, when the season of the year is changing for winter.
It's changing for what?
Winter.
On the 15th day of the same month, the season is changing for winter. On the 15th day of the same month, the season is changing for winter. Read on.
The law enjoins us to pitch tabernacles in every one of our houses.
Shamaria, what month do we pitch tabernacles?
The 7th month.
The 7th month. So according to our elder Josephus, the 15th day of the 7th month, our seasons change to winter. The pagans just told you today, December 22nd, they starting their winter. But we don't follow their customs, family. We follow what the Most High set in order. Our winter starts the 15th day of the 7th month, and it runs for 6 months. So according to the Most High, and our ancestors records it, winter for us, family, it starts the 15th day of the 7th month. It's the first day of tabernacles, and it runs for 6 months to the 15th day of the first month when we start celebrating unleavened bread. The first day of unleavened bread for us starts summer. That's our 6 months of winter and our six months of summer. There's no such thing as fall or spring. There's no such thing as autumn in our culture. These are all fables. These are all lies and theories of the Greeks. There is no such thing as fall. There is no such thing as spring. Today, December 22nd of 2021, the pagans are telling you winter is just starting. According to our father, winter started back on the 15th of the 7th month. Family, our winter is almost over. Our winter is almost over, family.
And it makes sense. That's why he brings a heavy rain during this time, because you're inching towards the new year, where the crops and stuff is going to start growing. The spring harvest, not spring, but the early harvest, the first harvest, first fruits
of summer.
Right.
This brother, come on, y'all. This brother coming back to his heritage. It makes sense when you learn who we are. Right now, the Most High is turning up the rain to get our crops ready for Pesach. So that's why the rains are heaviest in December and January. And these pagans are telling you, oh, winter is just starting. Family, winter is about over for us. Winter is just about over for us, family. So the 15th of the 7th month starts winter. Family, I want you to put your thinking caps on, right? Let's be Bereans. We're no longer letting anybody indoctrinate us anymore. I don't care how well they speak. I don't care how many languages they know. We're going to think for ourselves, and we're going to ask for receipts. We're going to ask for sources. If our winter starts in the 7th month, by now we're in our 11th month. There's no way a man is going to have his woman traveling 9 months pregnant in the dead of winter, family. It's fables. It's fables. So our next receipt, if you're seminary trained, you're familiar with the name Unger. Unger is another so-called theologian, and Unger has a Bible dictionary. Can you read what Unger records about the climate of Jerusalem?
Because of the diversity in elevation from Hermon's snowy 9,101 feet to the Dead Sea's tropical 1,290 feet below sea level, a great variety of plant and animal life is found. In the hill country, prevailing western winds create adequate rains from October to April.
From when?
From October to April.
The winds, the Most High brings his winds, and his winds bring rains from October to April. We just gave you the source that says December has what? 12 inches of rain? But you want me to believe that shepherds are out in the field right now, and our Messiah was born this time of the year. Read on.
Eastern winds from the desert bring intense heat and discomfort. Two seasons characterize Palestine: winter, moist, rainy, and mild, lasting from November to April, and summer, hot and rainless, lasting from May to October.
Unger is telling us Jerusalem only has two seasons, winter and summer. We know nothing about autumn or spring. That's the work of the Greeks, and it's their theories. Our Father gave us two seasons. He's the master planner. He don't just hit you with a bunch of ice at once. No, he gradually brings on winter. So you know, hey, start putting the summer crops up, get ready for your winter crops. So during our winter months, family, it's rain, and it's lasting from November to April. The summer comes with heat, and it's no rain, and the summer lasts about May to October. What gives you any idea that shepherds are going to be in the field during the rainy season? They will get sick and die. Their animals will get sick and die. You have turned to fables. You're practicing Christmas and you turn to fables. There's no way, family, shepherds are in the field during this time of the year. There's no way our Messiah, the real line of Judah, there's no way he's born this time of the year, family. No way, no shape, no how. Anybody got something they want to add before we move on? So we're just going to bring some more receipts. This is two Babylons. And those of you who want to do your own research, I encourage you all. Most of the resources we share are all free of charge. Google Books has a lot of them, and archive.org. This is two Babylons by a reverend, a doctor, Alexander Hislop. He is a Catholic priest, and he tells the truth about pagan Rome in this book, Two Babylons. We're going to double back and read this whole chapter, but we're going to drive home the point right now. There's no way possible Messiah is born this time of the year. Can you start us off here, the festival?
The festivals of Rome are innumerable, but 5 of the most important may be singled out for elucidation: Christmas Day, Lady Day, Easter, the Nativity of St. John, and the Feast of Assumption. Each and all of these can be proved to be Babylonian.
Be what?
Babylonian.
Be holy.
Be Babylonian.
Be of Christ.
Babylonian.
Family, take your screenshot, do whatever you got to do, download this. He just told you Christmas Day, Easter, and these other 3, I know the Christians don't practice, but y'all 2 biggest money-making days, Christmas and Easter. This Reverend Alexander Hislop has proof. He has receipts. Christmas and Easter is Babylonian. What did the angel tell John about Babylon in Revelations? Babylon the Great has what?
Fallen.
Babylon the Great doesn't fall to the very end of this age, because Babylon the Great is the whore. That's the great whore that has everyone drunk off her wine of fornication. So you think you're honoring Christ with this Christmas tree and your ugly sweaters? There's so much to bring out about this day. We'll be here all night. But everything you're doing, your Christmas pictures, your ugly sweaters, your jingle bells, all this stuff comes from Babylon, the great whore. Read on.
And first, as to the festival in honor of the birth of Christ or Christmas, how comes it that the festival was connected with the 25th of December? There is not a word in the scriptures about the precise day of his birth.
What you say?
There is not a word in the scriptures about the precise day of his birth.
This pagan knows this, family. Read on.
Or the time of the year when he was born.
They got a thing. If you talk to seminary preachers, and they change their stance to save their pride when you talk to them. But if they're honest with you, they learn in seminary this little Latin phrase called Sola Scriptura. Anybody ever heard of Sola Scriptura? Anybody online ever heard of Sola Scriptura? Sola Scriptura is Latin for scripture only. And it's supposed to be their methodology of teaching and living. We only going to teach what's in the scriptures. What did he say about Christmas?
There's not one word in the scriptures about the precise day of his birth, or the time could not have been the 25th of December.
How are you a doctor of divinity? How are you out there professing or them pass an exam where you had to memorize Sola Scriptura, meaning we're only going to teach what's in the scriptures, and this pagan is telling you Christmas, the birth of Christ, is not validated anywhere in the scriptures, old or new. Teaching for profit, family. People are teaching for profit. You don't want to tell the people the truth about Christmas because you're going to lose your members. People ain't going to come to your church no more. You're going to lose your audience. So you're going to let them go ahead, bring the Easter bunny in here. Yeah, the Christmas. Yeah, go ahead. Have the Easter egg hunt behind the church though. Don't have it out in front of the church. Just go into the field behind the church. Oh no, we ain't gonna do Halloween. No. You can't do Halloween here. But go ahead, let's have trunk or treat. No. The kids can dress up, but they got to dress up as angels. They got to dress up as apostles. This is what's going on, family. Got our people going to hell because you're compromising. There's no scriptures in the Bible that mentions Christ or give you a definitive time he was born. How did you get December 25th? Read on.
What is recorded there implies that at what time soever his birth took place, it could not have been on the 25th of December.
He's saying what is recorded, the true date is not recorded, but he's saying what is recorded, the evidence that is recorded, there's no way he was born December 25th. That's why we open up with Luke 2:18. There's no way shepherds are in the field when Christ is born if he's born in December. He's saying the evidence that we can read, what we can put our hands on, family, there's no way Christ, the true Christ, because there's many messiahs. Paul says if they come teaching another Messiah, which we have not taught, let them be accursed. So every pastor letting you put a Christmas tree up, every pastor letting you bring a present in the church, let him be accursed. Run away from him. I don't care if he's your dad, if he's your mom, run away from them. They are cursed, and they're trying to curse you. Your life is on the line. There's no scriptural proof for Christmas in the Bible. Read on.
At the time that the angel announced his birth to the shepherds of Bethlehem, they were feeding their flocks by night in the open fields. Now, no doubt, the climate of Palestine is not so severe as the climate of this country.
So he says, yeah, Palestine or Jerusalem is not bad as Rome, but
even there, though the heat of the day be considerable, the cold of the night from December to February is very piercing. And it was not the custom for the shepherds of Judea to watch their flocks in the open fields later than about the end of October.
Later than about the end of what?
October.
Here's another witness. Here's another man being honest. If Luke is telling us the truth, and Luke is saying that there were shepherds in the field and they were keeping their flock by night when Christ was born, we got a timestamp, family. We have a timestamp. We know right now, we got multiple witnesses. Jerusalem winter months brings heavy rains, and these heavy rains according to the Roman calendar, starts somewhere in October or after. So now we got a timestamp. Our Messiah, the true line of Judah, has to be born before late October. Before late October. We have a timestamp. Read on.
Gill, in his commentary on Luke 2, verse 8, has the following. There are two sorts of cattle with the Jews, the Israelites. There are the cattle of the house that lie in the city.
So there's milk cows. So the milk cows, they stay in the back in the barn because they're milk cows. Read on.
The cattle of the wilderness are they that lie in the pastures.
So the cows that's in the wilderness, they're not the milk cows. They're the cows that you probably butcher for meat. So they don't come into the city. They stay in the wilderness where the shepherds were keeping watch over them. Read on.
On which one of the commentators Maimonides observes.
So that name there, family. Let me calm down. I hate the devil. I don't hate Christians. I don't hate my Christian family. I don't hate my Christian family and friends. I hate Satan. That name there, Maimonides, he's a famous Israelite. If you Google him, he's going to be very light-skinned. We don't know how he looks. Y'all know he Renaissance everything. His nickname is Rambam, Rabbi Moses Maimonides. He's a famous rabbinic Jew, rabbinic Israelite. He is our family. He is of the stock of Abraham. He has a lot of writings that you can read, and you can go to the library and you can buy his books, but you got to be careful with Rambam because he's a Talmudic Jew. But Rambam does have writings, and he's recording things about our customs. Let's read what Rambam says.
He observes, these lie in the pastures, which are in the villages, all the days of the cold and heat.
So the cows who are not milk cows that's going to be outside your house, they stay out in the villages, out in the woods, what we would call the country, right? Read on.
And do not go into the cities until the rains descend.
The shepherds don't bring these cattle into the cities until the rains start coming, until the winter months. The shepherds bring these cows, these livestock in out the pastures when the rain starts to come. Can you tell the family when the rains start to come?
The first rains fall in the month Marchesvan.
What's Marchesvan's?
March.
He gonna tell you.
Oh, okay. Which answers the latter part of our October and the former part of November.
Here's Maimonides, a famous Israelite. He's telling you that if there's shepherds in the field, if Luke is telling the truth and you accept Luke's text, and there's shepherds in the field watching the cattle at night, they can't be out there during the rainy season. And Maimonides is saying the rain season comes late October or early November. Late October or early November. Our Messiah, if Luke's account is true, and you accept Luke's account, I do, that there were shepherds in the field, it can't be no later than mid to late October. Because after October, early part of November, Yah sends the early rain. The early rain comes. So our Messiah, the true line of Judah, has to be born before late October. Let's keep that timestamp. He has to be born before late October. Read on.
From whence it appears that Christ must be born before the middle of October, since the first rain was not yet come.
They're confirming it. They're confirming the timestamp. The true Messiah has to be born before the middle of October. So using the Roman system, what would you consider the middle of October?
In Rome, fall.
Well, how many days does October has?
31. Oh, so the 15th, around the 15th.
So the middle of October is October the 15th. The true Messiah, according to Israelite agriculture, he has to be born before October the 15th because the first rain comes late October into early November. We're walking down the birth of Messiah. We're walking down the real birth of Messiah. There's no way he's born in December. Read on out.
Since the first rain was not yet come, Kitto on Deuteronomy 11, verse 14 in the illustrated commentary says that the first rain is in autumn, quote unquote, that is September or October.
Here's another witness. This Kitto, whoever he is, he's confirming that in Jerusalem, the first rain comes in September or October. September or October. So we're getting a more clear timestamp of the true Messiah. Read on.
This would make the time of the removal of the flocks from the fields somewhat earlier than I have stated in the text. But there is no doubt that it could not be later than there stated, according to the testimony of Maimonides,
Maimonides,
whose acquaintance with that all that concerns Jewish customs is well known.
So the writer Alexander Hislop, he's saying, listen, Maimonides, he's an Israelite expert on how they live. And he's saying Messiah had to be born before late October. But he's saying here, he may have been born earlier towards late September. But he's saying, we know for sure he has to be born before late October, because late October, the rains come and the shepherds are no longer in the fields with their cattle. So he's saying, he's alluding to right now, Messiah, the Lion of Judah, could have been born as early as September on the pagan calendar. He says he's not sure, but using Maimonides as an expert on Israelite customs, he definitely was born before late October, because late October, early November, the first rains are coming. The first rains are coming. Let's continue on.
It is in the last degree incredible then that the birth of Christ could have been taken place at the end of December. There is great unanimity among commentators on this point. Besides Barnes, Doddridge, Lightfoot, Joseph Scaliger, and Jennings in his Jewish Antiquities, who are all of the opinion that December 25th could not be the right time of our Lord's nativity. The celebrated Joseph Madej pronounces a very decisive opinion to the same effect.
So Alexander Hislop, he's throwing out some heavy hitters in Christian circles. He's saying all the theologians agree that Messiah could not have been born December 25th. So I ask you, brothers and sisters, if agriculture, the climate of Jerusalem, the holy scriptures, the letter of the apostles, if all of them are proven that Messiah could not have been born December 25th, who are you celebrating for December 25th? Who are you celebrating December 25th? So we're going to get into it. We're going to read the whole chapter. Before we show you the true birth date of Messiah, we're going to show you this same resource. We're going to show you the origins of Christmas. And I usually like to give you multiple resources, but for time's sake tonight, we're just going to share two Babylons. Because like I said, you can just use your smartphone and get confirmation with all this information we're about to read to you. So we're going to read the whole chapter about Christmas from Alexander Hislop. So this is, can you see that out? Is it sharing?
Mm-hmm.
This is the same resource, Two Babylons, chapter 3, the festivals of Christmas. And let me help out because I know it's a lot of reading. So it says, if Rome be indeed the Babylon of the apocalypse, and the Madonna enshrined in her sanctuaries be the very queen of heaven, for the worshiping of whom the fierce anger of God was provoked against the Jews in the days of Jeremiah, it is of the last consequence that the fact should be established beyond all possibility of doubt. For that being once established, everyone who trembles at the word of Yah must shudder at the very thought of giving such a system, either individually, what you do in your house, or nationally, what you do as a country, the least countenance or support. He's saying, listen, if what I'm about to share with you is true, that everything of Christmas is coming from Babylon, if you fear the Most High, you should cease and desist all practice of Christmas. This is what he's saying, family. He says, where did I stop at? Something has already been said that goes far to prove the identity of the Roman and Babylonian systems. But at every step, the evidence becomes still more overwhelming. That which arises from comparing the different festivals is peculiarly so. The festivals of Rome are innumerable. We read this earlier. He says, I'm going to skip up. We just read this to you. I'm going to pick it up here. I'm going to pick it up with this last sentence here. Therefore, Christ could not be born in the depth of winter. Again, at the time of Christ's birth, the shepherds lay abroad, watching with their flocks in the nighttime. But this was not likely to be in the middle of winter. And it says, and if any shall think the winter wind was not so extreme in these parts, let him remember the words of Hamashiach in the report. Pray that your flight be not in winter. If the winter was so bad a time to flee in, it seems no fit time for shepherds to lie in the fields in, and women and children to travel in. Indeed, it is admitted by the most learned and candid writers of all parties that the day of Messiah's birth cannot be determined, and that within the Christian church, no such festival as Christmas was ever heard of until the 3rd century. Family, the 3rd century is the 400s. The 3rd century is the 400s. He says, no festival such as Christmas was ever heard of until the 3rd century, and that not till the 4th century was far advanced did it gain much observance. They didn't start really doing this thing in Rome in the Catholic Church until about 425. 425, family, 425. So we're going to read this note right here. Archdeacon Wood, in his Christian Annotator, the manual of Presbytery, he quotes Sir Peter King, who in his inquiry into the worship of the primitive church infers that no such festival was observed in that church, and adds, it seems improbably that they should celebrate Christ's nativity when they disagreed about the month and the day when Christ was born. See also Reverend J. Ryle in his commentary on Luke, who admits that the time of Christ's birth is uncertain, although he opposes the idea that the flocks could not have been in the open fields in December. So he's saying, well, they could have been in the fields in December, but family, when you read these resources, consider the source. He's a pagan. He don't know Israelite customs. The Israelite expert is Maimonides, and Maimonides is saying there's no way our shepherds are in the fields at the October. So his statement there has no weight because he's a stranger, he's an outsider, he's a pagan. But he says, where did I stop at?
In his commentary admits the oppose by an appeal to Jacob's complaint.
So he says, although he opposes the idea that the flocks could not have been in the open fields in December, by an appeal to Jacob's complaint to Laban, by day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night. Now the whole force of Jacob's complaint against his churlish kinsman lay in this, that Laban made him do what no other man would have done, and therefore, if he refers to the cold nights of winter, which however is not the common understanding of the expression, it proves just the opposite of what it is brought by Mr. Rao to prove, viz. that it was not the custom for shepherds to tend their flocks in the fields by night and winter. So we just read all that for nothing, family. This stranger is trying to go back to Jacob and Laban to prove that shepherds could be in the field in winter. We just scratch that from the record. This outsider thinks he knows Israelite history. There's no way any shepherd is going to be in the field right now. And our in-house expert is the Rabbi Maimonides. There's no way shepherds are in the field right now. So let's continue on here. I'm gonna read this paragraph. I'm gonna turn it over to you, Al. Geisler Chrysostom, he's another theologian, family. You can Google him. If you respect their theology, if you respect their schools, Geisler is a Christian theologian. So Geisler, writing in Antioch about 380 AD, this is 380 AD, this is late 4th century, right? Says, it is not yet 10 years since the day was made known to us. What follows, add Geisler, furnishes a remarkable illustration of the ease with which customs of recent date could assume the character of apostolic institutions. Thus proceeds Christendom. Among those inhabiting the West, it was known before from ancient and primitive times, and to the dwellers from Thrace to Gadara or Cadiz, it was previously familiar and well known, that is, the birthday of our Lord, which was unknown at Antioch in the east, on the very borders of the Holy Land, where he was born, was perfectly well known in all the European regions of the West, from Thrace even to Spain. So Geisler family is saying, how in the world y'all know his birthday in Rome and the areas where he was born? Antioch borders Jerusalem. He's saying Antioch in 380 don't know the birth date of Messiah. But y'all in Rome that came up with December 25th, sketch it up for me. How, Sway? How, Sway? That's what he's saying, family. Read this again. He's saying, how can y'all way in the West, Rome, tell us the exact date that Messiah was born, but those in Antioch going back to 380, they don't know the date. Y'all have been sold a bag of goods, family. These are the fables that we've been practicing from the Catholic Church to the Protestant Church. No one knows the exact date of Messiah's birth, but tonight we're going to get you very close to his birth date. Can you take over?
How then did the Romish Church fix on December the 25th as Christmas Day? Why thus, long before the 4th century and long before the Christian era itself, a festival was celebrated among the heathen.
Among who?
Among the heathen at that precise time of the year in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian queen of heaven.
Didn't them other scholars you open up with says it predates Christianity? So here's another witness that this December 25th goes way back before the time of Christ. How are you doing this for Christ and it predates Christ? Read on.
And it may fairly be presumed that in order to conciliate the heathen and to swell the number of the nominal adherents of Christianity, the same festival was adopted by the Roman Church, giving it only the name of Christ. This tendency on the part of Christians to meet paganism halfway was very early developed, and we find Tertullian, even in his day, about the year 230, bitterly lamenting the inconsistency of the disciples of Christ in this respect and contrasting it with the strict fidelity of the pagans to their superstition.
So Tertullian is one of your venerated church fathers, and Tertullian gave you the Trinity, and Tertullian gave you the terms Old and New Testament, and Tertullian is saying the pagans are more consistent to their paganisms than you people who say you follow the apostles. But these people following the apostles were pagans telling people they're following the apostles. So Tertullian in the 230s is saying, wait a minute, y'all keep vacillating, y'all adding some of the paganisms, and the pagans don't adopt y'all ways. This is what's going on in the Catholic Church, and this Catholic Church has been pushed to the Protestant church. You're adding a little bit of paganism and you smearing Christ's reputation upon it, telling people it's holy. Didn't Christ says many shall come in my name? This is what he's talking about. You're coming in his fame, telling people it's all right to bring a tree in your house. It's all right to put a garland around a tree. It's all right to kiss on the mistletoe. It's all right to have presents. This has been going on way before Christ's time, and he said it was going to happen. The pagans are more faithful to their deities than you are to Messiah. Bunch of hypocrites. Read on.
By us, says he, who are strangers to the Sabbaths, new moons, and festivals once accepted or acceptable to God, the Saturnalia, the Feast of January, the Brumalia, and Matronalia are now frequented. Gifts are carried to and fro. New Year's Day presents are made with din and sports, and banquets are celebrated with uproar. Oh, how much more faithful are the heathen to their religion.
New Year's celebration is heathens.
Who take special care to adopt no solemnities from the Christians.
He's saying, listen, these pagans are true to their pagan deities. They're not trying to follow nothing y'all doing. So why are you, and this is when you got to know history, family. SELAH, let me slow down because I skipped a very important detail. The Christians that Tertullian is having an issue with, they're not related to us. They're not related to the apostles. The Christians Tertullian is running down, these are pagan Christians. And what I mean by pagan Christians, these are non-Israelite Christians who are telling people they're following the Hebrew apostles. So Tertullian is telling them, wait a minute, y'all saying that y'all following the Israelite apostles, but the Israelite apostles didn't partake in the pagan deities. So he's saying, he's talking to pagan Roman Christians saying, listen, y'all got to make a stance. Either y'all going to forsake the gods of Rome and stand on this Hebrew God, or y'all going to just be pagans. He said, but y'all can't do both. He's talking to pagans, family. He's talking to non-Israelites. So when you partake in Christmas, partake in Easter and New Year's noisemakers and New Year's masquerade parties, he said these are pagan customs. The apostles, the Hebrew apostles, knew nothing about this. This is Tertullian telling you this, family. Read on.
Upright men strive to stem the tide, but in spite of all their efforts, the apostasy went on till the church, with the exception of a small remnant, was submerged under pagan superstition.
So this church they're talking about is the Catholic Church. A small remnant fought the paganism, but mostly they couldn't keep it out. So that's why you got pictures of Christ with a sun disk behind his head, because they're not worshiping our Christ, they're worshiping the sun. That's why you got the Catholic Church with a saint for every day of the week. Oh, you got a job interview, pray to this saint. Oh, you having problems with your marriage, pray to this saint. So the Catholic Church was unable to keep paganism out, and guess who swallowed the paganism? The Protestant Church. The only thing the Protestant Church didn't do is they stopped accepting money and bribes for absolution. That's the only thing the Protestants did. So you think you're a Protestant, you are a Reformation, you're a child of Martin Luther Reformations. Martin Luther didn't forsake Catholicism. He just called the Pope out and says, "No what? The Pope, you went too far." So you think you're a Protestant or a non-denominational. If you meet on a Sunday, you're a Catholic. If you got Christmas in your house, you're a Catholic. If you got Easter egg baskets in your house, you're a Catholic. You ain't no better than the Catholics. That's who you are. You're a pagan. Let's read on.
That Christmas was originally a pagan festival is beyond all doubt.
No doubt.
Beyond all doubt that the time of the year and the ceremonies with which it is still celebrated prove its origin. In Egypt, the son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time.
Who was born at this time?
Tammuz.
And who else?
The son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time, about the time of the winter solstice.
Every pagan nation has a celebration, and they're all following Babylon. So Babylon has Tammuz being born, and then Egypt has her son, Isis says, well, my son was born here. So every pagan nation is just copying off Babylon. That's why Babylon, the great whore, doesn't fall until Messiah comes. So you're doing things from Babylon, you're just putting a new spin on it. Now they got you putting Jesus on it, and there's no man ever called Jesus in the first century. If you go back to 1400, no, let's just if you go back to 1500 of the Roman era and say you worship Jesus, no one would know who you're talking about. The letter J didn't even come into their vocabulary until like 1524. So now you're smearing this made-up character named Jesus on top of Christmas, talking about he's your Messiah, and nobody knows who Jesus is. No one knows who he is. Fables, family, fables. Read on.
The very name by which Christmas is popularly known among ourselves, Yule Day, proves at once its pagan and Babylonian origin. Yule is a Chaldee or Babylonian name for infant or a little child. And as the 25th of December was called by our pagan Anglo-Saxon ancestors, Yule Day or Child's Day, and the night that preceded it, Mother Night, long before they came in contact with Christianity. That sufficiently proves its real character.
This is Babylonish, family. This is Babylonish. Yuli is a Babylonian Canaanite word for child. What's the Hebrew word for child? Anybody remember?
Yalad.
Yalad. Ain't it close? So you're practicing, you're giving honor to Yuli Day, the day of the child of Babylon. Babylon's child is Tammuz. Their child is not Messiah. Fables, family. Read on.
From Yule or from Eol, an infant. In Scotland, at least in the lowlands, the Yule cakes are also called Ner cakes. Now in Chaldee, Ner signifies birth. Therefore, Ner cakes are birth cakes.
Uh-oh.
The Scandinavian goddess called Norns, who appointed children their destinies at birth, evidently derived their name from the cognate Chaldee word nor, a child.
You have to check the origins of what you're doing. We keep adopting so much, not asking why. We started calling women back in the 90s, started calling women divas. Come to find out, diva is what?
A demon.
A demon. I was just walking around. I'm a diva. I'm a diva. Yeah, you are a diva. You definitely are a diva. And then the brothers, I'm a thug. I'm a thug. What's a thug?
A demon.
A demon. Stop just accepting things because it's popular. Everyone's doing it. What your mom used to tell you, babe? If everyone jumped off a bridge,
you do it too.
Everyone's doing it. Shamaria, why you standing in this line? I don't know. Everyone's in this line. You better look around the corner and see where this line is going to. Following the crowd.
It's going straight to hell.
You in a line going to hell, but everyone having a good time. We smoking cigarettes. They got the radio and we partying. Well, where the line going to? I don't know. Everyone's here. This is what's going on. You better check the origins of what you're getting involved into. I want my job. I'm getting glazed. Oh, they said it's safe. They said it was safe. It's been out for 6 months. They said it's safe. I can't give up my benefits. I just had a newborn. We just got this house. Let's read on.
Far and wide in the realms of paganism was this birthday observed. This festival has been commonly believed to have had only an astronomical character, referring simply to the completion of the sun's yearly course and the commencement of a new cycle.
This is sun worship, family. This is sun worship. So they're mixing all their theories. Our Father says that he made the earth that it be what? Stable and move not. The sun is not revolving around this earth. The sun is on a track. The sun is on a path that he travels every day back and forth over this earth. So any religion, any festival talking about the sun making his complete revolution, anything revolving planets, is all based on Greek theory. It's based on Satan's knowledge. This earth is not moving. The planets are not moving. Read on.
But there is undoubtedly evidence that the festival in question had a much higher reference than this, that it commemorated not merely the figurative birthday of the sun in the renewal of its course, but the birthday of the grand deliverer. Among the Sabians of Arabia, who regarded the moon and not the sun as the visible symbol of the favorite object of their idolatry, the same period was observed as the birth festival. Thus, we read in Stanley Sabian's philosophy, on the 24th of the 10th month, that is December. According to our reckoning, the Arabians celebrated the birthday of Baal, the Lord, that is the moon.
So all these nations, all these pagan nations that the Most High don't want, they all got a birth right now around this time of the year. That's all it's saying.
And notice how they say 10th month, but then now they say this is the 12th month.
Con. So we all, y'all heard, right now, December, Deci is Latin for 10, but you're telling me it's the 12th month. Things ain't adding up. Nothing these pagans gave us, nothing they made us memorize in school is holy. Nothing they made, this is the result of lawlessness. We got all this confusion. We was under all this idolatry because we broke the law, statutes, commandments. And our family, who we love dearly, still won't give it up. That's how strong this whore of Babylon has their hooks in our people. Read on.
The Lord Moon, or Baal moon, was the great object of Arabian worship. And that Lord moon, according to them, was born on the 24th of December, which clearly shows that the birth which they celebrated had no necessary connection with the course of the sun.
So all my brothers out there with your crescent in your star, think you're a Muslim, Islam, the moon is your God. That's what that crescent moon is. That crescent moon is one of your gods. Islam Islam was polytheistic long before Muhammad got it. Muhammad the one told them that there was one God. But Muhammad couldn't keep the paganism out of his own religion. So that's why you got that crescent in the star. That crescent is a god to them. That's all it's bringing out, family. Every pagan nation who the Most High hates is celebrating their deity right now. This deity has nothing to do with the born again, the only begotten Son of the Messiah of the Most High. This day has nothing to do with the Lion of Judah. It has nothing to do with righteousness. This day has nothing to do with righteousness. You can get this on your own. Let me see. I think the point is made. Yeah, we can move on. All right, let's pray. It was no more mere. It was no mere.
Did you want to walk Miss Gina out?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, take her out.
It was no mere astronomic festival than that the pagans celebrated at the winter solstice. That festival at Rome was called the Feast of Saturn, and the mode in which it was celebrated there showed whence it had been derived. The feast, as regulated by Caligula, lasted for 5 days. Loose reins were given to drunkenness and revelry, which is partying. Slaves had temporary emancipation or freedom and used all manner of freedoms with their masters. So during that time of the year, during that period, the slaves actually had some sort of freedom where they could actually dine with their masters and celebrate with them. And the Feast of Saturn, Saturn is also known to be Satan. I didn't know.
Where you at?
Just finished that first paragraph where it said that it ends in masters. So it would be, the next thing says subsequently.
And also what I just brought out, also slaves could dress up in their master's clothes and the masters would put on their slave clothes. So all of you out there putting on ugly sweaters, that's where that custom comes from. You're making fun of the Israelites who were slaves to the Romans. You're making fun of our ancestors who were beaten into being Christians. So to give them a good time, they were allowed to get drunk and they were allowed to spank and smack their masters, and their masters just drunk too and putting on slave clothes. That's where the ugly sweater tradition comes from. Google it. Use your smartphone. It's not a deep study, but you don't want to know the truth. Like R. Kelly said, y'all don't want to know you don't want to please the Most High. You love your paganism, but you can't say when Messiah cracked the sky, you can't say you wasn't warned. You can't say you wasn't warned. For the sake of time, let's just, we gotta read that. All right, let's drop down to, all right, I'll take over out. You've been doing a lot. So this was precisely in the way in which, according to Bessarus, the drunken festival of the month of Thabbath, answering to our December, in other words, the festival of Bacchus was celebrated in Babylon. It was the custom, says he, during the 5 days it lasted, for masters to be in subjection to their servants and one of them ruled the house, clothed in a purple garment like a king. I just was alluding to that. This purple robed servant was called Zoganis, the man of sport and wantonness, and answered exactly to the Lord of misrule, that in the Dark Ages was chosen in all popish countries to head the revels of Christmas. The wassailing bowl of Christmas had its precise counterpart in the drunken festival of Babylon. So, family, if you ever went to a Christmas party and you went and got some of that eggnog punch, that was the wassailing bowl. That's wassailing bowl. It's eggnog. It says, and many of the other observances still kept up among ourselves at Christmas came from the very same quarter. The candles in some parts of England lighted on Christmas Eve and used so long as the festive season lasts. Your Christmas lights, what used to be candles, family, were equally lighted by the pagans on the eve of the festival of the Babylonian god to do honor to him. Your Christmas lights is all for pagan gods, family, for it was one of the distinguishing peculiarities of his worship to have lighted wax candles on his altars. The Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. That image you had with the pagan pine tree, it's all paganism. Research after research, the pine tree is pagan. It says in Egypt, that tree was the palm tree. In Rome, it was the fir. The palm tree denoting the pagan Messiah as Baal Tamar, the fir referring to him as Baal Parath. The mother of Adonis, the sun god, and great meteorical divinity, was mystically said to have been changed into a tree, and when in that state to have brought forth her divine son. Family, you've been turned to fables. You've been turned to fables. If the mother was a tree, the son must also have been recognized as the man branch, the branch. And this entirely accounts for the putting of the Yule log into the fire on Christmas Eve and the appearance of the Christmas tree the next morning. As Zero Ashtar, the seed of the woman, which name also signified Ignigenia, whatever, or born of the fire. He has entered the fire on the mother night, that he may be born the next day out of it as the branch of God, or the tree that brings all divine gifts to men. Family, this is what you're partaking in. This is the evil you're partaking in. It says, where did I leave off at?
But why?
But why, it may be asked, does he enter the fire under the symbol of a log? To understand this, it must be remembered that the divine child born at the winter solstice was born as a new incarnation of the great God, after that God had been cut into pieces, on purpose to revenge his death upon his murderers. Now the great God, cut off in the midst of his power and glory, was symbolized as a huge tree, stripped of all its branches and cut down almost to the ground. But the great serpent, the symbol of the life restoring, whatever that word is, twists itself around the dead stock, and lo, at its side, it upsprouts a young tree, entirely different entirely different kind that is destined never to be cut down by hostile power, even the palm tree, the well-known symbol of victory. The Christmas tree, as has been stated, was generally at Rome a different tree, even the fir, but the very same idea was implied in the palm tree. I'm sorry, SELAH. But the very same idea as was implied in the palm tree was implied in the Christmas fir. For that covertly symbolized the newborn God as Baal Parath, Lord of the covenant, and thus shadowed forth the perpetuity and everlasting nature of his power. Not that after having fallen before his enemies, he had risen triumphant over them all. Family, this tree is wickeder, is more deadlier than you think. It's not innocent fun. It's not a harmless tree to the Most High. You want to finish that last paragraph? We're going to move on.
Yeah, and also too, so what that was signifying is he's saying that cutting down the trees into a log and taking the log and putting it into the fire and then receiving gifts under the upright tree the next day represents basically the destroying of the Most High and then the celebration of the new everlasting God, which is Satan. I said, whoa, like just, I never seen it like that. I've definitely learned it myself. So that's very powerful. So it is more dangerous, you know, than people think, because it's Satan's day and he's signifying that he has victory and now he is the new everlasting.
You're putting gifts under the tree and you're bending down to pick the gifts up. You don't understand, and you may be doing it out of ignorance, but you're bowing down to a new pagan deity. This is all the fables they come up with. They come up with all these wicked fables, and family, it's okay for their nation because their God, the Most High, didn't give them a covenant. So they can do this in Babylon. They can do this in Rome. That's not a problem. But when you say that you want to worship the Elohim, the God of heaven, you can't do these things. And if you are a blood-born descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're going to be killed for this. You can't do what the other nations do. That's what got us kicked out the land in the first place, trying to be like the other nations. So family, there's nothing holy, there's nothing innocent about your Christmas tree, about your gifts, about the decorations, about the songs, about the eggnog. There's nothing holy, there's nothing innocent about this day. Let's go back to the presentation. That was 2 Babylons, and you could download that off the internet free of charge. Let's bring this home. I think that's enough of Alexander Hislop. Let's so where did we leave off at? So family, take screenshots, write this down. We're about to get you real close to the birth of the true Messiah. We're about to get you real close to the birth of the true Messiah. Let's go to the book of 1 Chronicles. Well, I'm Salaki. First, let's go to Luke. Let's go to Luke first. We don't know the exact date, but we're about to show you it's more accurate than December 25th. We're going to pick up Luke 1, verse 5. Luke 1, verse 5. Turn my pages. So we're going to read Luke 1 and verse 5.
Luke 1, verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abiah, and his wife was the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth.
So family, everything our ancestors wrote was for our benefit and it was for our learning. But our ancestors had no idea how far we would be scattered. But they wrote and recorded things that an Israelite will pick up on right away. So Luke 1:5 is saying Zechariah, he's a priest, and he's a priest of the course of Abiah. And it lets you know that his wife, Elizabeth, she's the daughter of a priest because she goes back to Aaron. It's letting you know that Zechariah and his wife are legitimate
Levites, right?
Legitimate Levites. Zechariah and his wife are legitimate Levites. And then it tells you he's of the course of Abiah. That's gonna mean a lot in a minute. So we can get close to the Messiah's birth based on John the Baptist's birth, because John the Baptist's family is only 6 months older than Messiah. John the Baptist is only 6 months older than Messiah, and he's Messiah's cousins. So once we know the priestly orders, we can get very, very close to our king's birth. So Luke chapter 1 verse 5 says Zechariah was of Abiah's course. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 24. 1 Chronicles 24, just so the family can have it for their records. Everything recorded was for our benefits. We just didn't get the history of our nation inside the church. First Chronicles 24, and I want to do the whole thing, but it's getting late. Let's just go to verse 9.
First Chronicles 24, verse 9. The 5th to, how do you say that?
Malchiah.
The 5th to Malchiah, the 6th to Majamin, the 7th to Hakaz, the 8th to Abiyah.
So here is King David. King David set the orders up of the priests before he died, and he gave this order to Solomon. So King David is telling the priests, the Levites, how to serve in the temple. So Zechariah is on Abiah's line, and the 8th course fell to Zechariah. The 8th course is dividing the weeks up. So the priests serve week to week or Shabbat to Shabbat. So Zechariah's turn to serve in the temple is the 8th week of the year. The 8th week of the year. So to show you what we're talking about, let's go to 1 Chronicles 9:25. 1 Chronicles 9:25. We're going to show you how we're going to get very, very close to Messiah's real birthday. 1 Chronicles chapter 9, and we're going to read verse 25. Read when you got it.
And their brethren, which were in their villages, were to come after 7 days from time to time with them.
So it's telling you this whole chapter is about the order of the temple and the Levites in their worship. It says the brethren, the Levites, which were in their villages, leave your village and come to serve in the sanctuary. And you're coming after 7 days from time to time. So you're coming from Shabbat to Shabbat. The priests are changing orders, or they're changing priests Shabbat to Shabbat. So Zechariah is from Abiah's line, and Abiah's sons, they serve in the 8th week. Let's get it again as a week, as a witness. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 23. 2 Chronicles chapter 23. Just to show you that the priests, they changed out Sabbath to Sabbath. So they served for a whole week. 2 Chronicles 23 and verse 8.
So the Levites and all Judah did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest had commanded, and took every man his men that were to come in on the Sabbath, with them that were to go out on the Sabbath.
So one priest is coming in on the Sabbath and the other is going out on the Sabbath. So this is very powerful information to reclaim our identity and to find the true birth of the only begotten son, the real line of Judah. Zechariah is on Abiah's line. Abiah, his week was the 8th week. Now, if you check the chart, let me go back to the bigger chart. If you check the chart, the first of the month starts with Yarab. He has the first week of the first month. Moving across, the second week is Yediah. The third week of the first month is Karam. The fourth week of the first month is Saram. Then we go, 4 weeks is a month, right? Then we go down to the second month. The second month, the first week, which is the 5th week of the year, is Malchiah. The 6th week of the year, which is the second month, is Mayam. The 7th week of the year, we're in the second month, is the 7th week, is Hakaz. And then Abiah, he has the 8th week. The 8th week of the year is the last week of the second month. This information is about to be very valuable to us, finding the true birth of our Messiah. Zechariah is on Abiah's line. Abiah has the 8th week. Now, the thing about the priest, you can see it here. There's only 12 months of our year. And you see, if you go down to the 7th month, at the 7th month, who starts over again?
The 7th month, Yehoiarib.
Right, we're back to the top of the priestly schedule, family. I hope y'all can see this. Take screenshots of it or send me an email. I can send you the presentation. The priest starts over, so they serve twice a year. The 7th month, Yarab starts back over. So Abiah's sons, their week is the 8th week of the year, and then that'll be the 32nd week of the year. So the 8th month, 4 times 8 is what, 32? So Abiah's sons, they serve the 8th week of the year, and they serve the 32nd week of the year. So convert weeks into months, they serve the 2nd month, and they serve the 8th month. Zechariah is of the course of Abiah. Zechariah is of the course of Abiah. Abiah has the 8th week, and he has the 32nd week, or we could say he has the 2nd month, and he has the 8th month. This is going to be very valuable in us tracking the true Messiah, right? So, with that information, let's read Luke 1:26. Now we on with some very valuable information. Now we're going to get you very close to the true Messiah. Luke chapter 1, verse 26.
And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from the Most High unto the city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, from the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail thou art highly favored. The Most High is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with the Most High. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shalt call his name Yahushai. He shall be great, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Most High shall give unto him the throne of his father David, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end.
He shall reign over the whole world forever.
He shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end.
The real Messiah is going to reign over the house of Jacob, and his kingdom is going to reign forever. His rulership is going to be forever. So I want you to highlight and take note, family. This angel is Gabriel. This angel is Gabriel or Gabriel. He's appearing to Mary during Mary's SELAH. He's appearing to Mary during Elizabeth's 6th month. Right now, as the angel is talking to Mary, Elizabeth, her cousin, is 6 months pregnant with John the Baptist. This is going to be very valuable to us marking Messiah's birth. The angel Gabriel or Gabriel comes to Mary while Elizabeth is 6 months pregnant. Let's read on to get it.
And behold, thy cousin Elizabeth, she have also conceived a son in her old age, and this is the 6th month with her.
This is what?
This is her 6th month.
So this is Elizabeth's 6th month. This month right here is the month that Mary conceives. Mary conceives by the Most High's power during Elizabeth's 6th month. It's going to be very, very lucrative, very key that you mark this. Mary conceives during Elizabeth's 6th month, right? So let's get where Mary visits Elizabeth. Verse 30, Luke 1 and 39. Luke 1 and 39.
Verse 39, and Mary arose in those days and went into the hill country with haste, into the city of Judah, and entered into the house of Zacharias and saluted Elizabeth. And it came to pass that when Elizabeth heard the salutation of Mary, the babe leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Ruach, or the Holy Spirit.
So John the Baptist is inside Elizabeth. And when John the Baptist, the baby, heard Mary's voice, he leaped inside Elizabeth's womb. Why did John the Baptist leap inside Elizabeth's womb? Because Mary has conceived, and Mary is carrying Messiah right now. Mary has conceived during Elizabeth's 6th month. How can we confirm this? Let's finish that out.
Now she was filled with the Holy Ruach, and spake with a loud voice, and said, Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb.
Blessed is what?
The fruit of thy womb.
Elizabeth just started prophesying. Elizabeth just started prophesying over the Messiah. What did she say,
And blessed is the fruit of thy womb.
How did Elizabeth know Mary had fruit in her womb? Because the Spirit has entered her. She just got filled with the Ruach of the Most High by hearing Mary's voice, because Messiah is inside Mary. So let's read it again. Blessed be what?
Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb.
So this is confirmation, family. Mary has conceived during Elizabeth's 6th month. Mary has conceived during Elizabeth's 6th month, right? So let's finish this out, and we're going to do some little quick math. Let's go to Luke 1. Luke 1 and... For context, let's just get context. Let's get Mary's song of praise. Let's get Luke 1:46. We're gonna run it down. Luke 1:46.
And Mary said, My soul doth magnify Yahweh, and my spirit hath rejoiced in Elohim, my Savior. For he hath regarded the low estate of his handmaiden. For behold, From henceforth, all generations shall call me blessed.
So she knows she's pregnant. She's received Elizabeth's blessing. She's received Elizabeth's prophecy, and she knows she's carrying. She's acknowledging she's carrying. Read on.
For he that is mighty have done to me great things, and holy is his name.
For he that is mighty will do great things.
He has done to me great things.
She already knows she's pregnant. Read on.
Wa Kadash Hasham.
Mm-hmm.
And his mercy is on them that fear him from generation to generation. And he showed strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts.
So that's a Hebrewism right there. That went over side our heads. Mary says, verse 51, he have showed strength with his arm. What's the first letter of Messiah's name?
Yah.
Yah, the arm of a man. The first letter of Messiah's name in Hebrew is the arm of a man. That's why we say Yahweh Shai. So this is a Hebrewism here, family. He has shown strength with his arm. She's talking about Messiah. Read on.
He has scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He have put down the mighty from their seats and exalted them of low degree. He hath filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he hath sent empty away.
Tom.
He have holpen his servant Israel.
His servant who?
His servant Israel.
The Baptist Church.
He have holpen his servant Israel.
The Pentecostals.
His servant Yasharallah.
Well, don't forget about the Lutherans.
Israel. He have holpen his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy. As he spake to our fathers.
To who?
Our fathers.
To the world?
He has spoke to our fathers.
Read on.
To Abraham and to his seed forever.
To his spiritual seed forever.
To his seed forever.
You making stuff up?
And he spake to our fathers, to Abraham, and to his seed forever.
Verse 56.
And Mary abode with her about 3 months.
How long?
For 3 months.
Mary stayed. Now remember, family, to count. The angel Gabriel appeared to Mary during Elizabeth's 6 months of pregnancy. Mary stays with Elizabeth for 3 months after she got there. What's 6 plus 3?
9.
9 months. What was verse Luke 1:57?
And now Elizabeth's full time came that she should be delivered.
So you notice in verse 56, Luke 1:56, it says, and Mary abode with her about 3 months and returned to her own house. And verse 57, Elizabeth is about to give birth. So the angel appears to Mary during Elizabeth's 6 month. Mary gets excited and goes to see her cousin, and she has conceived during Elizabeth's 6 month. Mary stays with Elizabeth for 3 months. So that's 9 months. Elizabeth is about to have John the Baptist. Now, let's do some math. Zechariah is of the course of Abiah. That's what the text say, right? What week does Abiah serve?
He serves the 8th week.
So Abiah's first time serving in the temple is the 8th week. 8 weeks is 2 months. So the 2nd month. So let's go back and get it so you read it. Let's go back to Luke 1. Let's go back to Luke 1 and verse 5.
There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abiah.
So Zechariah is a Levite, and he's the son of Abiah. So he serves during the 8th week or the 2nd month, right? Let's go over to Luke 1 and let's get verse 13. Luke 1 and 13.
But the angel said unto him, fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John.
So the angel's telling Zechariah, don't be afraid. I got good news. Your prayers are going to be answered. Elizabeth, your wife, is going to bear you a son. Y'all going to call him Yachanan. Yah has been gracious. Y'all going to call him Yachanan. Yah has been gracious, or Yah is full of grace. Read on.
And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of Yahweh, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Spirit, even from his mother's womb.
So I thought you needed Christ to be filled with the Holy Spirit. You don't need Christ to be filled with the Holy Spirit?
He shall be filled with the Holy Spirit, even from his mother's womb.
So that's a 2-for-1, family. We're shooting down false doctrine tonight all the way around. This whole doctrine that you got to be, Christ had to ascend and Christ had to resurrect before you could be filled with the Holy Ghost. And that's what the day of Pentecost is about. They got the Holy Ghost and they were speaking in tongues. That's all Christian dogma, and it's all garbage. It's fables. John and others had the Rawak before Christ was even born. Let's read on.
And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to Yahweh their Elohim.
Many of the world he's going to turn to Yahweh.
Many of the children of Israel shall he turn to Yahweh their Elohim.
This has been in the text the whole time, family. Read on.
And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elias, or Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just.
So is he reincarnated as Elijah, or he's going in the spirit of Elijah?
He's going in the spirit and power of Elijah.
So family, if you're new, there's a lot of false doctrines out there, and it's a doctrine about reincarnation. And John the Baptist came back as John the Baptist. There's no reincarnation in our nation. This text says that John the Baptist is going to be in the spirit. He's going to be in the spirit of his ancestor, not that he's reincarnated. You got brothers adding to the text just like Christians, but they think they have great breakdowns. They think they're so mature in the word. Just read what the text say and produce witnesses to verify what you're saying. There is no reincarnation in our nation. John the Baptist was not reincarnated. He was working in the power of Elijah. That's what the text say. Read on.
And Zechariah said unto the angel, whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife well stricken in years.
So Zechariah is doubting. Zechariah doesn't have faith. Read on.
And the angel said, answering unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of Yah, and I am sent to speak unto thee and to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, thou shalt be dumb and not able to speak until the day these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season.
Read on.
And the people waited for Zacharias and marveled that he tarried so long in the temple. And when he came out, he could not speak unto them. And they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple, for he beckoned unto them and remained speechless.
Verse 23.
And it came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministration were accomplished, he departed to his own house.
So his week to serve in the temple is done. His ministration, his job is to light incense in the temple. Zechariah is of the course of Abiah, and his job is to light incense. Now his week of service has ended. Verse 24.
And after those days, his wife Elizabeth conceived and hid herself 5 months.
She hid herself how long?
For 5 months.
And when did she conceive?
After he came back from the temple.
Boom. So now, family, I hope y'all still with us, and I hope we're not going too fast, but we will publish this. You can go back and do the math yourself, because we're not trying to indoctrinate. We're just trying to share information. Zechariah is of the course of Abiah. According to 1 Chronicles 24th chapter, Abiah served during the 8th week. The 8th week of the year is the 2nd month. So the 2nd month, Zechariah doesn't come out of the temple until, let's say, the 3rd month, because the 8th week is his time to serve. The 8th week is the last week of the 2nd month, right? So the text says that after his ministration, he went home, and after those days, Elizabeth conceived. So that puts Elizabeth's conception sometime in the 3rd month. That's where you see the blue star on your screen. So Elizabeth had to conceive sometime after the 2nd month. Let's just say right now, for easy math, she conceived during the 3rd month. It says she hid herself for 5 months, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She hid herself for 5 months. That gets us to the 8th month of the year. The text says Gabriel appeared to Mary during Elizabeth's 6th month. So Elizabeth's 6th month would be the what month of the year?
9th.
Would be the 9th month of the year. Elizabeth's 6th month would be the 9th month of the year. So let me do this again just to make sure you guys are with me and you guys can check my math. Zechariah serves in the temple the last week of the 2nd month. The text say Elizabeth conceived after his time of serving. So she has to conceive in the 3rd month of the year. So if the angel appears to Mary during Elizabeth's 6th month, the 3rd month, and you add 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the angel appears to Mary during the 9th month of the year, but it's Elizabeth's 6 months of pregnancy. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So Luke 1:56 says that Mary stayed with Elizabeth how many months?
3 months.
So if she got to Elizabeth during Elizabeth's 9th month and she stayed for 3 months, when was John the Baptist born?
In the 12th month.
John the Baptist had to be born either the 12th month
or the 1st month.
Or the 1st month.
Mm-hmm.
When did Mary conceive? During Elizabeth what?
When did Mary conceive?
Mm-hmm.
During Elizabeth's 6th month.
6th month. So that means Mary's going to have a baby.
Mary is 3 months
behind
in the 12th month.
Right.
So when she leaves the house, when she leaves Elizabeth is getting ready to have
John the Baptist.
Between the 12th month and the 1st month, but Mary is 3 months pregnant in the 12th month.
Right. So if Mary conceived during Elizabeth's 9th month, 6th month,
6th month,
and Elizabeth's 6th month is the 9th month of the year. Elizabeth's 6th month is the 9th month of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary conceives during the 9th month of the year. So starting with the 9th month of the year, let's count 9 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What you get, Op?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 6th month.
6th month. If Mary conceives during Elizabeth's 9th month, 6th month, let me start over so we can get this. Now, keep in mind, family, on your screen, on the right side is Mary's possible months of birth. We open up with some history about Jerusalem's winter. It says Jerusalem winter, the rain comes after the 8th month. From the 8th month through the 12th month, it's impossible for Messiah to be born. So the Messiah can't be born during our 8th month or through our 12th month of the year. The winters are too harsh. So now Messiah's birth have to be confined to our 3rd or 7th month. That's the window of time Messiah has to be born in. Because according to all the research, the rains come during the winter months and there's no shepherds in the fields during the winter months. So now let's start this over. The angel appears to Mary during Elizabeth's 6th month. If we base Elizabeth's 6th month on Zechariah's course, Zechariah serves in the 2nd month. So Elizabeth had to get pregnant during the 3rd month. So let's do the 3rd month plus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy is the 9th month of the year. The 9th month of the year is Elizabeth's 6th month. Mary conceives during this month. So Mary conceives during our 9th month of the year. So at the 9th month of our year, let's count 9 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 months gets us to the 6th month of the year. Does the math add up?
Mm-hmm.
The math adds up, right?
Yeah.
So that's assuming that Elizabeth got pregnant the 1st week of the 3rd month. Let's assume that Elizabeth conceived the 2nd week of the 3rd month. What happens to the birth? It gets pushed back further and further.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume Elizabeth consumed the 3rd week of the 3rd month. You see where I'm going at?
Mm-hmm.
We know Messiah's birth is based on John the Baptist's birth. And we also got a timetable that Mary has to give birth before the rain comes. The research we open up with, family, let's go back to the chart. This table right here, family, it says that here's the month on this table. You see January through December. If you go to the second column, is rainfall in inches. Let's go down to September. September has no rainfall. And September for the pagans corresponds to like our 7th month. October is Latin for 8. October usually corresponds to our 8th month. Our 8th month in Jerusalem, we're starting to get rain. We're starting to get 2 inches of rain. By November, our 9th month is 2 inches of rain. Remember, the 9th month of our year, that's when Mary conceives. Mary conceives during our 9th month of the year. Our 10th month of the year corresponds to the pagans' December. It's 12 inches of rain. It's 12 inches of rain. And if Mary is just conceiving during the 9th month of the year, there's no way she's having a baby in December. So we got to keep that in mind, family. There's no way Messiah is born in December. So now let's go back to our table. So again, just so y'all are with us and y'all know we're not making stuff up. And again, just send an email, TorahGroup12@gmail.com, and we can email you a copy of this. The angel appeared to Mary. It says it was the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy. Did it not? So Mary conceives during Elizabeth's 6th month. But we gotta compute. We gotta figure out what is Elizabeth's 6th month. Well, the text say that soon as Zechariah left, or it didn't say soon, it says after he left the priesthood, in those days Elizabeth conceived. Well, that information that Zechariah serves during Abiah's priesthood or during Abiah's course, we know Abiah's course is the end of the 2nd month. So Elizabeth conceived sometime after the 2nd month. Let's just say for easy math, she conceived the 1st week of the 3rd month. The angel appears to Mary during Elizabeth's 6th month. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Elizabeth's 6th month of pregnancy is the 9th month of the year. If Mary conceives during the 9th month of the year, it takes 9 months for a baby to come out. So we just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gets us to the 9th month of the year. Am I on point?
Well, you had it, but so basically Mary is conceiving
during the 9th month of the year.
Month, and now she stays with Elizabeth for 3 months.
So she's 3 months pregnant at the end of the year.
Right.
So she got 6 more months to go.
Right.
At the end of the year.
So now you go back to month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So the 6th month is the earliest Messiah could be born. The 6th month is the earliest Messiah could be born. Anybody inside the virtual room have any questions about that before we move on?
She left earlier. She said, kids and stuff. She said she's just gonna watch the replay. Shaniqua.
All right, so if there's no questions, we're gonna move on. At the end of the year, the Hebrew year, when John the Baptist is born, Mary is 3 months pregnant. She has 6 more months to go. So Mary is 6 months pregnant Mary is 3 months pregnant at the end of the year or the first month of the year. Mary has 6 more months to go. At the end of the year, for easy math, we're going to just say at the end of the year. At the end of the year, John the Baptist is born, and Mary still has 6 more months to go. 6 more months gets Messiah born the 6th month of the year. Messiah is close to the 6th month of the year. But wait, we got more. Let's go to Luke chapter 2. Let's go to Luke chapter 2, and let's run down verses 1 through 3.
And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem or Bayat Lacham, because he was of the house and lineage of David.
So this Roman governor sent out that he wants everybody taxed so he can get an accurate count of how much money he's going to bring in from the Jews, from the Israelites. Now, for the sake of time, I won't bring it out, but all the Roman emperors who were sent to Judea, they had one job. Their one job was to keep the Jews, keep the Israelites from revolting. You didn't want to be that Roman emperor who lost control of Judea. So these Roman emperors, yes, they were ruling us, but they were doing things to stay in good graces. So that's why the Pharisees manipulated Herod or Pilate like they did. Pilate listened to the Pharisees because Pilate didn't want them to riot and him lose control of Judea. So all the Roman emperors knew if you ruled Judea, you were going to go back to Rome and get and receive great honor. You were going to be a statesman. All you have to do is keep the Jews under control. What am I saying? What am I saying? If this Roman emperor Cyrenius wants to tax the people and he wants the people counted, it only makes sense for him to do it during a convenient time of the Israelites. Not only during a convenient time, but why not do it when a time when the most people are going to be around? What time of the year would it be most convenient for him to count the people?
A feast.
A feast day. Now, we just did the math that If Mary is 3 months pregnant at the end of the year, she has 6 more months to go. But that's only if
we don't know what week, like it could be a week or two more or less, more.
When Elizabeth conceived, because Elizabeth could have conceived the very last week of the 3rd month. So we can't say exactly when Elizabeth conceived. Therefore, we can't say exactly when Hamashiach was born. But knowing history, knowing the Roman generals don't want to cause a uproar, the Feast of Tabernacles is coming up when?
The 7th month.
The 7th month. So if I'm Cyrenius, I know the Jews have a feast day when all of them are due to come into Jerusalem. I'm gonna schedule this census around their feast day. So we can't say exactly, family, that Hamashiach was born during Tabernacles, but it's a window of the 6th month through the 7th month. Hamashiach is born. There's no way Hamashiach is born during our 8th month, which corresponds to the Romans' October. There's no way, because the history we just brought out says the rains come during the 8th month. So using our scrolls and using textual criticism, the real line of Judah is born 6th month the earliest, or the Feast of Tabernacles the latest. Now, can I just hit you with a little bit more Hebrewisms? Tabernacles is the Feast of Booths, right? The Feast of Coverings, right? I'll pull up that verse. Did I have it? Messiah was born between the 6th and 7th month. That's the most honest deduction we can get, family. But there's no way you can stretch the 6th and 7th month into the 12th month. There's no way you could do it. If you want to be honest with all the history and you want to be honest with the scriptures, the shepherds are still in the field. If the shepherds are still in the field, it's the 7th month at the latest. It can't be the 8th month, because according to the history, during our 8th month, the Most High sends the rain. The winter season is upon us. So being objective and being fair, Messiah is born the 6th to 7th month, somewhere in that window. Now we know that Tabernacles is the 15th of the 7th month. Messiah is a representative of the Most High. The Most High says he desires to what? Dwell with us. He desires to dwell with us. So Messiah being born around Tabernacles, it sort of fits the Most High's MO. You understand what I'm saying? I can't say for sure, and I'm not going to say for sure. But with our culture, knowing our culture and our language, it's just befitting that Messiah would be born around Tabernacles, because the Most High desires to dwell with his people, and his son is a representative of him. His son is not him, but his son came in his place. So putting 2 and 2 together, using textual criticism, family, it's most likely that the Messiah, the true Messiah, is born around the 7th month. You got anything to add?
Emmanuel, the Most High with us.
The Most High is with us. The Most High is with us. So family, that's being honest. If you want to celebrate the true Messiah's birth, you want to play, word games. No, we don't have a commandment saying we can't celebrate the Messiah's birth, but we do got commandments saying that we can't follow the heathens. So following December the 25th birth, you're following the heathens. The true Messiah, the true King of Israel, is born somewhere during the 6th or 7th month of the Hebrew year. And with that, let's just move on and close out. And let's go over just the horrible idolatry of this day. Let's go to Deuteronomy 12 and 30. Deuteronomy 12 and 30. There's no way you could slice it up. Your pastor, no matter how well he hoop and holler, no matter how polished he is, no matter how smooth he is, he can't turn this wicked day into holiness. He can't do it. Deuteronomy 12 and verse 30.
Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them. After that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their power, saying, how did these nations serve their gods?
The Most High is telling Moses, when I destroy these nations and bring y'all into the promised lands, don't even look around at these other nations and ask them how they serving their gods. Because I don't want nothing they're doing for their gods. I don't want none of that worship. So Deuteronomy 12 and 30 is saying, don't worry about the other nations. Don't ask how they serve their idols, because I don't want that worship. The Most High is telling us he don't want that worship. Let's go to Deuteronomy 20. These are going to go fast. Deuteronomy 20 and 19.
Deuteronomy 20, verse 19. When thou shalt besiege a city, or besiege a city a long time in making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for thou mayest eat of them, and thou shalt not cut them down. For the tree of the field is man's life.
The tree of the field is what?
Man's life.
The tree of the field is what?
Man's life. To employ them in the siege.
Verse 20.
Only the trees which thou knowest that thou be not trees for food, thou shalt destroy and cut them down, and thou shalt build bulwarks against the city that maketh war with thee until it be subdued.
Deuteronomy chapter 20, verses 19 through 20, the Most High is saying it's against his order. It's against his law to cut trees down for nothing. He's saying never cut down a meat tree, a fruit tree. You can never cut down a fruit tree. But the trees that are good for fighting, for houses, you can cut those down, but you got to be using them for something. He's saying the trees are the life of a man. He gave us trees to use. So some trees he gave us for food, and other trees he gave us to build with, to live with. So I want to thank the Most High for my brother in arms up in the Northeast. Moriah Walt Arthur, he taught us this precept last pagan Christmas, and I was like, wow, it's been in the text the whole time. So your pastor, I don't care how many degrees he have, I don't care how long he been preaching, I don't care if he's been on TBN, there's no way he can get around this verse and tell you that you having a Christmas tree is okay. You having a Christmas tree is no sin. According to the Father, you are not to cut trees down if you're not using them for firewood, building houses, or in wartime. That's Deuteronomy 20, verses 19 through 20. You are not to cut trees down. Let's go to Jeremiah. We're almost done here. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 6. I know what you want to get to.
Yahweh said also unto me in the days of Yashayahu the king, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel have done? She is going up upon a high mountain, and under every green tree.
Under what?
Every green tree.
Under every what?
Every green tree.
And what is the pine tree?
A green tree.
Sounds like the Christmas tree, don't it?
Christmas tree. That have, and there have played the harlot.
You're playing the harlot. That's why this is hoes for Jesus. You're playing a harlot, the same thing that got our ancestors in trouble in the time of Jeremiah. You're still doing it to this day. You're playing the whore, you're playing the harlot, and you're telling people it's okay. Jesus likes this. Jesus smiles at this. Jesus, Messiah, they don't want no parts of this. Read that again out.
Hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel have done? She is going up upon every high mountain and under every green tree and there have played the harlot.
You're still playing the whore under your green trees. You're playing a whore under your green tree. As it was in the days of Jeremiah, you're doing it to this day, and you think you have a reward coming? Your reward is coming. Yeah, it's gonna be a recompense. It's gonna be fire and brimstone is what you got coming for playing the whore.
I saw a teach, and he said chestnuts will be roasting on the open fire.
Absolutely, yeah, it's gonna be some chestnuts. Absolutely. Let's go to Jeremiah 7.
Jeremiah 7, verse 18.
Come.
Seest thou, verse 17, seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood and the fathers kindle the fire.
They gather what?
They gather, the children gather wood and the fathers kindle the fire.
The whole family's involved in this. Read on.
And the women knead their dough.
The women knead their dough. The women knead their dough, family. It's an old-fashioned term. The women are kneading the dough. They're beating the dough. They're rolling the dough out. They're getting ready to bake goods. Read on.
To make cakes to the Queen of Heaven.
Make cakes to who?
The Queen of Heaven.
To who?
The Queen of Heaven.
Uh-huh.
And to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger.
Provoke me to what?
Anger.
What you say this was sound like to you when you read it?
Milk and cookies.
This is milk and cookies right in the Bible, family. You got your kids leaving out milk and cookies for Santa, for Satan, and you think you got a reward coming? You think you're going to hear the words, well done, thou good and faithful servant? No, you're going to hear, depart from me, I never knew you. Right here in Jeremiah 7 and 17, they're baking cookies. They're pouring out drink offerings to other gods. And the Most High says, you're provoking me to anger. That's what you're doing with Christmas, family. There's no time for laughing and joking. You're on your way to hell. Let's go to Jeremiah 10. Let's wrap this up. You got something?
It's perfectly understandable. Well said. It's really not much to add. It just shows you that if this was happening back then what we're doing now is not pleasing in the sight of the Most High, and you can't twist something profane and make it for good.
Come. Jeremiah 10, starting at the top.
Hear ye the word which Yahweh speak unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen.
Do what?
Learn not the ways of the heathen.
So this Christmas tree, the wreaths around your door, the garland that you wrap it around a tree, those little balls you're putting on the tree, all those are pagan symbolisms. They're not harmless decorations. They are the way of the heathen. Father's saying, do not learn the way of the heathen.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold, and fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
If you didn't know, let's just suspend belief for a second. Let's suspend, we ain't been doing all this studying and fasting and praying these last couple of years. What does this sound like to you?
Sound like somebody cutting a Christmas tree out the forest, bringing it in the house, and fastening it so it don't move, and decking it with silver and the ornaments.
I heard a pastor try to teach this, saying that this ain't talking about a Christmas tree.
I've heard that too.
How in the world can you read Jeremiah 10 and 5 and not say that this is talking about a Christmas tree? This one Dr. Seminary, he was so delusional. He says, oh, this can't be talking about Christmas, because this is the Old Testament and Christ wasn't born yet. So this ain't talking about Christmas. Duh.
That's the point.
That's the point we're bringing out. You're doing something for Jesus that they were doing before he was born. And this Dr. Seminary is so thick-headed and so stiff-necked and so full of Jesuit doctrine, that really made sense to him. His congregation, amen, amen. That made sense to you because you're under that cup of fornication. You're drunk off the wine of fornication. That cockamamie story made sense to you. This can't be talking about Christmas because this is the Old Testament and Christ ain't born yet. Are you kidding me? Let's finish this out. 6.
For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Yahweh, thou art great, and thy name is great in might.
Jeremiah is telling Father, there is none greater than the Most High. So we've read that text we read to you in 2 Babylons. They're doing all these things for their pagan deities, saying their gods are great. This tree stump, we cut it down, we burn it in the fire, and now, oh, by the morning, he's done sprung up to a tree, and this pine tree is the new God. Jeremiah said, the Most High is the only Elohim. He's the great I am. So you're trying to be cute and you're trying to dance around these topics. There's no way you could turn paganism into holiness. There's no way you could put any Christ of the Most High into Christmas. Talking about put Christ back into Christmas. He never was in Christmas. So family, this is all I have. This is ho for Christmas, the idolatry of Christmas. This is a sincere mission to share this information. Do your own research. Do not rely on your pastor, your clergy. Your soul, your own soul is on the line. Take this information. All these resources we pulled out is free of charge online as PDFs. You can send an email to TorahGroup12@gmail.com. You can put a comments in the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page for this presentation or for the resources. Christmas is going to get you killed. New Year's celebration, the noisemaker, eating black-eyed peas, masquerade parties with masks on is going to get you killed. Valentine's Day, having orgies. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all don't have orgies no more in church. Y'all just give love to your spouses. Check the origins. Valentine's Day is a whole week of debauchery of the Romans. Valentine's Day is going to get you killed. St. Patrick's Day is going to get you killed. Easter is going to get you killed. Every day you're celebrating from the Romans is going to get you killed. This is a love mission to pull you out of idolatry. If any pastor, any deacon can show us that we're wrong, please reach out to us and show us that we're wrong so we can retract this and apologize to the family. And that's what we're about. If we're wrong, let us know we're wrong. Teach us how we're wrong. Please, it's an open invitation. Any Christian, whether you be clergy or you're a layman, if you could teach us that we're wrong and Christmas is holy, please come teach us. Reach out to us, send us a text or email, and show us how Christmas is holy day and is not evil in the sight of the Most High. And with that, I'll open up the floor for questions, comments, and concerns.
Shalom, Mashapak. I just wanted to say how edifying this whole teaching was. Everything was so broke down, so much scholarship, so many resources, so many receipts. It'll be hard for people to genuinely sit down and listen to this presentation and not be convicted in their spirit to question what we've been doing pretty much since birth. Because a lot of times when people take the other stance of, why they honor this pagan day, the best they can do, they'll say, well, to celebrate Jesus Christ, of course. But they all admit, at least the people that I've asked, even today, the person I was talking to earlier, I said, well, why do you celebrate it? And I said, let me guess, it's because your mom did it, your grandma did it, your great grandma did it. You've pretty much been taught to do it. instead of actually been taught to read the book for yourself. So I just say it's all praise to the Most High for both of y'all's work and what y'all brought tonight.
All praise Kaya Dala Yahweh Ba Sham Yahweh Sham Malak Nawah. This is, we as the people of the book, we as Israelites, we get a bad name because of a few bad apples out there. Y'all know how the world. It's funny. I put 2 videos on the YouTube channels, and I did a test. I put 2 videos on our YouTube channels over the past years, and I put them out there with negative titles. And those 2 videos got the most views and the quickest views. People love negativity. They love. We got way more deeper studies, but since it ain't so and so gets cut, so and so gets exposed, people don't want to read that. So, unlike the reputation we have as Israelites, the Torah Group, Just Give Me Book TV, we want to win souls. We don't want anybody, righteous, Jew or Gentile, we don't want anybody to be left behind out of ignorance. We want as many as people we can save, because like Shamaria said, to be honest with you, some of this is selfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Most High is looking for a number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love the family, Christians, I love y'all, but I'm ready to go. So we do all this work so the Most High can get his remnant and get us out of here. But what we're trying to tell people, the signs that the Messiah said, they're happening right now. As we speak, they're over in the Middle East fighting. Other nations, the wars and rumors of wars, it's happening right now.
Our salvation is happening. I just told somebody that a few days ago. I think the salvation has started. I believe the salvation has already started.
We don't have time. We don't have time to waste. We don't have time to waste, and we don't have time to be all these pleasantries and if you can allow me, if you don't mind me asking. Listen, if that pastor, if that teacher you're under really loves you, you should be able to ask him any question, and he should be able to give you definitive answers. I'm tired of those stuff. Oh, you'll see it in due time. Oh, no, this was done away with. Pastor, I need to see concrete proof. Show me precept upon precept. Stop relying on the Holy Ghost. The Holy Spirit is going to show you in due time. Your soul is on the line. If that man, or if you're up under a woman, if they love you, they will take the time to show you. Take the time to take as much time as you take during offering time to break down these scriptures. Because you ever been in church during offering time? They take a lot of time for the offering, telling you how much you're going to be blessed if you give into the Lord's house.
Sometimes they do it twice.
2 offerings. So if you're out there and all this was new to you, this was mind-blowing to you, if you're up under any ministry, whether it be a Hebrew community or a Christian community, take this back to your pastor and ask him, is this tree really for Nimrod? Is this tree really for a pagan deity? Ask him. Because you just seen some of the greatest TV advances. Who were Pat Robertson? Pat Robertson been around since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. He's telling you it's pagan.
When I saw that video too watched it here, you see he knows, right? He know that it's pagan. He know the origins. He know where it's coming from and everything. But then, like, did you see his wife? She was like, but it's this, but we turned it for good, or it's about the heart, right? That shows the perfect example of the church system. So the pastor is studied and learned in many different things. So he knows it's wicked, but he accepts it because, like you said, if he don't accept it, people like his wife and people in the congregation will be turned off, and that's going to cut off the money.
So I noticed that. So now you prostituting the Most High's children for $1. That's why the text say, woe to you pastors. We grew up always looking at the street people. Be careful for them, they steal. Be careful, he sell drugs. Be careful. But the most damage is being done in the church house.
What I also see, Marab, to add on to what Shamaria just said, is the usurping of the man, especially in that example, because the man is bringing out how wicked and pagan it is by just giving you information regarding the day, but the woman usurping the man. But we, even though we know it's bad, we're turning it into good, kind of like the Garden of Eden, in a sense. She looked at the fruit that the Most High said was bad. Father Adam knew it was bad, but she looked at it and being tempted of her own flesh, she looked at it and saw that it was good to eat. So, I just thought about that parallel as y'all were speaking on that.
And I always wondered if she told him where she got it from. But then him being the head, he should have known it wasn't like the other fruits they've been eating. Father Adam should have says, "Hey, babe, where you get that from, Queen?"
Mm-hmm.
And then if he was in tune, that's one thing I love about our scrolls. When Moses had problems, he always asked the Father. When Joshua took over, he would ask the Father. The first time he didn't ask the Father what to do, he got tricked into not killing those people who were our neighbors. And because that time, that small decision, it was a small decision, but he didn't check with the Father. And now you believe these liars that they came from afar because they had moldy bread. But had you prayed or asked the Father, what you want me to do with them, Joshua would have known. So if Adam would have just asked the Father, should I eat this? Father, this is not like the other fruit that we have. Father, where did this come from? Abba Yah would have told him, son, that's the one I told you don't eat. So Eve has been put out there as doing wrong, and we can't change the script. The script says she gave the man to eat, but us as men, we got to take it back. Adam should, first of all, where you leave your girl alone for? Why you leave your woman? That's what I'm telling you. We got to keep control of our women at all times. Babe, I need to know where you at. It's crazy stuff going on. Not because I don't trust you it's our job to. I just had a conversation with her out the day about women in ministry, and it's like not knowing our culture got us all jacked up. We don't come from a culture of chauvinists where we down a woman and she's beneath us. That's not nowhere in our scrolls. She's our helpmeet. She's alongside of us, and she's to be honored as the weaker sex. But us men not knowing our position, we have the whole world out of order because we messed up. Starting with our father Adam, he messed it up.
Yep.
So I pray someone gets some understanding. Again, give me some time. I'll get this cleaned up and put it on a YouTube channel. You can share it with your family and friends. Because we still got family and friends who really don't see the harm in it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see why we get so turned off by it. It's just one day. It's just about family and friends, and maybe you can show them this class with the sources to help them out. But that's all I have. Anything else before we close out? So, Shalom, sis. We love you, sis. May y'all be with you through the night and wake you up rejuvenated for another glorious day. To those who see this tonight or at a later date, the Torah Group, we just brothers, soldiers, trying to do the work of the Most High. We don't know it all. We don't attack any man, woman, or child. If anything you witness inside this presentation is in error and you can validate it with some sources, please reach out to us so we can either retract this presentation or correct what we got wrong. This is a love mission to win our brothers and sisters out of paganism, to teach you with love that what you're doing during the Christmas season is nowhere in scripture. No one knows the exact date of the Messiah. But what we can deduce from the text There's no way he's born in the month of December. All of this is for a pagan deity. And with that, I say shalom, shalom, God bless.